How you doing, people? Right. Where am I here? A wee bit of shit, sweaty in the shed. Fucking sweat box in here. 2 seconds. Right. Where am I? How you doing, people? He's alright. Right. So, I got cut off last night, but hey ho. You know, anybody's got an issue with anything that I said, by all means have it with me. So, I had planned on having a wee run through of some bits, stuffs and bits. I was going to have a wee run through of the non sequitur mob when they had Dave Murphy on it, and have a wee look at that. I had a wee quick scan for anything else, but there's just nothing new coming from the Globe at all. So I thought I would maybe just have a wee run through that. If anybody wants to make any suggestions, something that you think's worth looking at, by all means let me know. I'm going to have a wee look through it. But as of now, I've got my sights set on that. But it's no fixed, so if anybody has anything better, then I'm going to have a look at that. Again, it's purely for educational purposes, to try and cut through the crap and highlight exactly what's going on in any of these interactions that's happening between people in this false dichotomy of the globe earth versus a flat earth, or fucking concave or cube or pyramid earth, whatever the fuck any muppet is going to come up with next. So, again, anybody new coming to this, if you're new, the globe's crap. That's it. That's all we've got to say about it. The globe's bollocks. We don't know the full dimensions. We need to find out. If you're up for that, then I suggest you snap out of the delusions and get with it. Okay? Snap out of the dream. I'm going to read out a wee few words that I like. And I always listen to a guy called Trev Dowson, who always sings a wee song at the beginning of his vids. And I like that about Trev. So I appreciate it, man, if you're hearing this. So I thought I would read out these wee words because I like them. They're significant and they're on point to things that have been going on. So I'm not going to start with the chorus. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond the illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming, I can hear them say. Masquerading as a man with a reason, my charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about, I'm like a ship on the ocean. I set a course for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on, my wayward son, for there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. I love that shit. I think that shit's profound as fuck. So, fuck me, it's like a fucking torture sweatbox in here. Right. I'm going to make a smoke and then I'm going to cut right into this stuff. Any other suggestions? I'm on the chat box right now. Hello, people. It certainly is fucking boiling. I might be making an appearance on some live events as my alter ego. playing the guitar. My alter ego is known as Algebra Powder Pants. Look out for it. Very funny. Algebra Powder Pants indeed. I need a fan. I've got loads of fans apparently. A spinny fan. Aye. Algebra Powder Pants is going to be releasing a #1 single to go along with my #1 album. Aye. So that's what I'm in this for. I'm in this to perpetuate the same old mindsets and get a wee slice of the pie. You know? Bit of success within the warped, crazy system that we have in place. That's what I'm after. I wish for acceptance, popularity and fame. Will you buy my album? Will you be proud to listen to Algebra Powder Fans? So I appreciate people's comments. Rock, I know there's a message there from you. It's I must be honest, I shied away from the wall of text. I will get back to people as soon as I can, you know, as soon as I've got some time to sit. I appreciate people's comments on the previous videos and getting what I was actually saying, you know, so certainly is. Stephen Atomic's very hot. Beyond belief. How you doing, mate? So just to finish a wee bit from where I was last night and to, you know, just recap. You have to be skilled, you have to be articulating in the subject and what it is you're trying to convey to people, or you know, you shouldn't really be engaging with it unless you can have it covered. You know, I wouldn't go trying to engage in conversation with people about fucking, I don't know, something that I don't know about, or I don't have a full grasp on, because I just wouldn't be doing it any justice. So again, you know, I always encourage people to be active, but know a warped perception of what that actually means. Right? It's not a popularity contest. You're not here to save the fucking world. Right? You're here to be an individual, standing on your own ground and sharing what you know at any opportunity you can. Alright? That's it. I'm not going back out. I'm not interested in any of these people. Okay? Things have been said and blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Fuck it. So again, the reason that I want to do these analytical videos is just to keep highlighting and repeat and highlight the nonsense that people get themselves involved in, and why it's detrimental and how it plays into the hands of these sophists and their games. You know, these people have a bias, a bias towards a certain worldview that they hold true and that they don't want to admit that we're wrong on. And they're just going to look for any opportunity to bolster that at the same time as making other people look ridiculous if they can. So I don't want anybody being in that position. And anybody with any ounce of sense would realise that, you know, don't get yourself in those positions. So anyway, enough of my fucking gibberish rambling. Right? I think the heat's getting to me. So a wee quick hello. Anybody get any other suggestions other than what I said I was going to look at? Hope for Truth, how you doing? Pandemonium, how you doing, mate? Hope to catch up with you soon, bud. Beyond Belief again, Meridian, Ute, Jen L, Sandman, Anders Ace, Chelsea Deluxe, Rock Vibrations, Maggie M, Wee Flat Earther, Jonah Worms, Stephen Watson, Pat Mustard, Night Angel, Jan Smith, Dardania Illyrian, Del the True Scottish Braveheart, freedom and all that cack. Paul Etchells, you would love for me to get on GMTV. I don't think they would love it. I don't think they would appreciate the likes of me being on GMTV. I think there would be a bit of an uproar. I don't think wee Philip and Holly would appreciate me telling them exactly what I think of them. I just can't see it somehow. Who knows? Optimism? Nice one. Pandemonium. Nice one, Andrew Canavan. Had the speed zone earlier, Pat Mustard. Looking rather dapper. Cutting about in my shots. I did Dom Yamaha, and thank you very much for that. I was going to give you a wee ping tomorrow at some point, see if you're available for a chat. Right, I'm going to read out some of these comments once I'm done. So, Still who's asking, West Coast says, ELK, debunk of your Ailsa Craig observation, you should cover that. Well, you know, the observations are done. Guys like ALK wait for specific moments, you know, to try and capture the effects that they're looking for. ALK is a dishonest torag. ALK has been offered numerous occasions to meet up and have observations to see if we can establish exactly what's going on. Now, I done observations with Dan, Crazy Polish Flat Earther, and they just skirt over it. Oh, spendy refractions and stuffs and stings and you know, and again he's been doing it, and the curvature that should be there is no there, right? So what dipshits like ALK wait for is the tide coming in, and I'm not sure of what the lay of the floor is round about that area. I'm going to need to do some digging into it. But I can suggest that as it's coming in, it's rising up as it's coming in because it's hitting a shelf, right? So dipshits like ALK, who still think the oceans are bending, are just morons, dishonest, lying little shites, is what people like ALK are. So the option's still there for knob jockeys like ALK and any other muppet that's in the surrounding areas that wants to cling on to bendy fucking oceans. By all means, give me a shout and we'll go and have an observation over the level water. What dipshits like ALK and the other idiotic, biased globe disciples fail to address is the substance that they're viewing over and its actual physical properties and behaviours that they know to be a fundamental fact of their reality, yet they still persist in trying to insinuate and insist that it's behaving in a way that's just not real. They fail to recognise the human eye and how it actually works. They're not interested in getting to any real truth. They're morons, dishonest, lying little pricks. So fuck ALK and his fucking observations. He can carry on till he's blue in the face. It's not convincing anybody. So, let me see. Again, you go to the observations and the observations that was done by me and Dan. The elevations that we were at in the distance, there should have been 800 odd feet of curvature. Okay, now not having any curvature there and then professing, I can't see the lighthouse. Again, coming into perspective, coming into what is actually happening at the vanishing point. What happens to things when they compress and widen as they get further away? You know, they're not going to address any of these things. I can't be fucking bothered with them. They're muppets. Dishonest, criminal lying muppets is what they are. I make no bones about it. Anybody that's coming and trying to tell you they're observing stuff over curvy, rotund bodies of water, you should poke them in the fucking eyes, kick them in the stones and tell them to get to fuck. Simple as that. I don't need observations over anything. If there's a body of water in front of me, okay, I understand. I am intellectually honest. I accept my reality. The body of water from where I stand to any destination out with from my destination is going to be at the same level in every possible fucking direction, no matter how far it is. No matter how far. You could make the globe Earth 1,000,000,000,000 times bigger than they profess. You're still not going to get water to start bending. It always comes back to it. That is the number one thing that disproves the globe. Everybody, when they heard it initially as a child or whenever, would have thought that thought to themselves, how can that possibly be? Oh, but that's okay. I'll just ignore my common sense and my natural observations because I've got an image. I've got an image. So therefore, I need to contort my mind and everybody else's mind so that I can uphold this religious symbol image, you know, and hold it to be true and dear in my wee heart because I'm scared. Because I'm scared of what it could imply. I'm scared of the position that I hold right now and me lose it. So this is the nonsense. You don't disregard reality for an image. It's absurd. And I don't care how big the institution is. Neither should you. Oh, but Nasha and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? They're showing you stuff that's contrary to your everyday experience. They're showing you stuff that's contrary to direct reality, demonstrable reality. And it comes right down to it. That's what real science is. Real science must have practicality. It must be based in substance. That means when people are making claims to you, they must show you. They must be able to demonstrate it. And if they can't, there's no excuse. Doesn't matter how much money's been thrown at it and how long it's been professed to be true. And again, now I'm hearing people starting to say it because of the power of it, because it's true. Again, I highlighted this a long time ago. A part of the sophism is their observations directly out in front of you because of what happens to objects as they compress and widen and get distorted the further they go into this area. Right? Now, I'm starting to hear people talking about left to right curvature. Because if you're on a ball, your horizon is the outside line of the supposed sphere. Now you'll hear them saying idiotic things like, oh, but over 60 miles, that's only 1 degree. That's minute. And they'll use this kind of language. But what you have to understand is 1 degree, 60 miles must have curvature. It must be a detectable, measurable curvature. So identify two landmasses, theoretically, with 30 miles distance between them. There's half a degree of the sphere. Now, what is the feet from point A to point B of curve, of drop in elevation from that point to the other? You will find over 30 miles, it's a couple of 100 feet. So a simple test, you're looking at the outside line, the horizon of the supposed sphere Earth you're on. Put a fucking straight edge up to it and tell me if you can detect any decrease in elevation from point A to fucking point B. Oh, it's imperceptible, it's not enough. Well, 200 to 300 feet is not imperceptible. It would be fucking glaringly obvious. This is why they want to avoid the left to right curvature, because they know they don't have a leg to fucking stand on. They will keep invoking straight out curvature, straight in front of you, straight in front of you, because they know there's no exacting science and no real understanding of what's actually going on in regards to perception and how it actually works. Yet again, I can point to all technical drawers, all artists who understand 1 point, 2 point, 3 point perspective drawing. There is no curvature. There's no accounting for curvature in any way, shape or form. You wouldn't be able to achieve any of these technical drawings and construction if you were not basing things from a level. So it's guys like Cameron of the Clan Mitchell. I've seen him in Harry Growler's comment section. This guy fabricates, metal, and talking about how they learn from the off what square is and how you establish square. Now, theoretically, if guys like him were commissioned to construct a solid blocked bridge spanning 1,000 miles, they just know square, plumb and level, and everything has to be cut accordingly. So if I've got a fucking sphere, and here's my fucking bridge, and there's my fucking curve, all right, I found plumb at the top. What's happening? Oh no, my bridge is going into outer space. Absolute fucking lunacy. And this is the lunacy. You've got so many hands-on practical people, billions, all about this fucking pond, who know these fundamental facts that they apply in their everyday existence. They just need to snap out of it. They already know it and they understand it. They're just confused because of a fucking image on a TV screen. And some high priestly fucking dipshits with their fanciful words and their browbeating attitudes. Farring Jim went so angry. Oh, I'm sorry, Farring Jim. I'm very sorry, Farring Jim. Should I just be a wee quiet mouse? I'm sorry, Farring Jim. I've realised my whole life's a lie. I've realised my whole life's a lie. And I don't really know anything about who I am and where I am and why I'm here. And it's a bit of a big mystery, and there's people telling me lies. So, I can love them. I love them. I've not really got anything to be wound up about. It's all good. It's all a big party. Don't take it too seriously. No. I'm taking it far too seriously. What I should be taking more seriously is my career. And how I'm going to stock the fridge and buy a new BMW. Hey. Is that better? Is that more palatable for you? Snowflake? Flower? Petal? Huh? It's irritating. Fucking annoying. I know I have these natural emotions and reactions, but I really need to suppress them because it's not acceptable in the modern world. Displaying anger and contempt and distaste and passion, it's just not acceptable. I can't even say I'm a man anymore. I'm a something. I'm a thing. I better not say man, because snowflakes like yourself will be offended. And I don't want to offend you, because bad stuff happens when you're offended, apparently. When you get offended, the demons come or something. Causing offence is a real bad issue, and I don't want to contribute to that. I don't want to contribute to the demons coming and tormenting you because you were offended by me. How dare I? I know Farang Jim's acting daft. Farang Jim doesn't know what I'm on about. Sorry, Farang. I'm doing my best to try and please you. Would you like me to hop on one leg? What is it with these fucking absolute Plastic pricks. I know, pragmatic. I have crossed into safe space. I'm trying to be modern, keep up with the times, and do what is expected of me from some external source that's trying to dictate how I should behave. Do I get rewarded? Do you love me now? Have I got more fans? Am I more palatable? Gold star? Can you send me a gold star? A big one? So I could put it in the fridge and look at it every morning. Look, who's at this now, looking at the sky? My shed roof has an apex. My shed roof is apexed, therefore my floor is the same. Right, anyway, enough focus on these cartoon dipshits. Where was I? What time are we on? 9. I realise now that this is 2 hours long, this fucking video. But I think I'll go through it anyway, see how far I get. I'm not getting any other suggestions apart from dipshits like ALK and the 3 proofs that some daft woman is spewing again about Eratosthenes. And again, this woman, they can't say Eratosthenes, I can't even fucking say it either. They keep saying Eratosthenes, and they're meant to be academics, you know. And if you go and listen to that woman, she can't even fucking see it. Right. So I hope you understand why I'm pissed off, okay? You should be a wee bit pissed off. If they're not, I think you need to be adjusted a wee bit. Right, I gotta find this stuff. Again, copyright stuffs and whatever other bullshit I need to spew so that I don't get fucking censored. Alright? It's analytical, public commentary, educational purposes, and highlighting sophistry. Okay? Hope that's okay. Try to find it. I'm going to try my best not to offend any of the people who were involved in this. I have to profess right now, it's nothing personal. I'm in no way, shape or form attacking anybody's character or personality or what they're up to in their private life. None of that stuff, okay? Purely, you know, the content and what they're offering is what I'm going to look at. Now, if I call you something like stupid, then I can only base it on my observations of what I'm experiencing. Calling somebody stupid is not an ad hom. Ad hom is when you're trying to defame somebody's character in order to win a debate or an argument and use that as sway to somehow win. That's not what I'm going to be using here. You know, if I get annoyed and I see somebody behaving like a total dipshit, I'm going to say, you're a dipshit. Just like people say to me, oh, you just get angry and swear all the time, you fucking moron. Fair dues. Should I cry? Right. Are we up for this? Are we excited? Come on, disciples. When the priest asks a question, I expect an instant response. If you don't give me an instant response, you're not a committed disciple. And we're going to have to have words and readdress your position within this cult network. Because I'm just not happy with that. I expect snappy answers. That's more like a wee flat earther. That's the fucking attitude I like to see. Hurry up, you big fucking knob in the shed. Just get fucking on with it and stop rattling your fucking gums. That's what I like to see. Attitudes like that. I applaud that. Keep it up. Right? Go, hurry up. Everybody tell me to fucking go on with it now. Stringing it out, you big cunt. Righty. Oh, the good lady is bringing me a wee drink. Thank you. Oh, that's good. So here we have it, the non sequitur. We get Billy Connolly wanting to be fucking some guy that calls himself godless engineer. Right, so right away, you know, we've got a scope on this dude, and probably the majority of them. The majority of these dudes take a position of philosophical materialism, and that's what they try to hold up, and they hold dear to them for whatever reason. They are committed to it. Okay? Now, to start professing you're a godless engineer denotes to me instantly that you're of atheist origin. Okay? You know, and I've been there, I've been in that idiotic, childish mindset myself, and it's purely that. It's intellectual laziness, it's intellectual dishonesty, it's ego, it's all sorts of fucking idiotic nonsense that people like him try to hold up, right? Although people like him have not even got the ability to go right to the beginning of their narrative, of their neo-Darwinian concepts of our existence, and go right to the beginning and see if it's founded upon anything that he can practically observe and demonstrate for himself. No, I can't. It's all inferences and wee stories and big long-winded pish that he's warmed to and committed himself to, and now is too stubborn and too pig-headed to realise and correct himself and admit that he's been an absolute walloper and that there's much more to this existence than he even realises. So, let me see.
I'm very happy to know that I still exist.
I'm very happy that you do as well.
No, I'm not sure if I'm happy he exists right now. We'll see.
Existential crisis is averted.
Good.
Don't worry.
And then joining us are two special guests. One you recognize very well. He comes on quite often. He was a part of the questions thing that we did.
Oh, go with me.
That wasn't this month. Things that we have coming up.
Blah, blah.
The same. Their actual field, any of them, this will be the first time that they're meeting you. Get behind, and we're going to dive into some of those today. And then
on from then, I started to
get behind,
fuck's
and
sake.
we're going to dive into some of those today. And then, Gauss and General, I'll let you recap for anybody that don't know who you are already. So, David, over to you.
Okay, well, I'm known as allegedly Dave. I've been researching topics of the truth for about 15 years now. I started at 9/11 because I was at 9/11. And
this is all very well and good, you know, but I'm a bit impatient. Look at this fucking twat here. I would just be saying, look, mate, you know, I'm here because the globe's utter crap. Now, can we go on with it? And why have you got this fucking cartoon bollocks here? These cartoons left and right and centre. What's going on? Why are you depicting things like that? What's wrong with you? You daft?
like 4 years on from then, I started to realise there was something fishy about it. It just so happened to coincide with my midlife crisis, you know, the government, but
I'm just going to try and get to you.
And I've literally lost count of all the fascinating subject.
I'm interested to hear about what that bigger lie is, because I'm I'm probably not familiar with it. So we'll get into that, but I definitely do want to know what that bigger lie is. Okay, Gauss engineer.
You're just going to need to bear with me here till we start getting to the meat and bones of this stuff. I can't remember where it is. I'm just going to let it play for a wee minute to see if we can pick up some threads here.
Hi, I'm Godless Engineer. I run a channel here on YouTube called Godless Engineer. I also have a Facebook page.
I mean, the absolute absurdity of that. Godless engineer. Godless engineer. So, no intelligent design. No. So the stuff he's engineered was done by itself. No, he never even took part in that. It just happened. It just came out of a black hole and appeared.
And Twitter of the same name. So yeah, I debunk anti-science and anti-atheist things.
Anti-science and anti-atheist things. Any moron could debunk your atheism, pish flaps, sonny boy. Right? Why are you even committed to a religious stance? And don't shoot it's new religious because it fucking well is, sonny boy. If you don't know the actual truth of your objective reality in your existence, why are you making any philosophical religious stance? Eh? Why are you not just intellectually honest and saying, I don't fucking know, by the way? I seem to have this awkward bias to want to believe this stuff. I don't know if it's because I'm feeling a bit guilty that I was licking cats' bums when I was growing up, and if I entertain the notion that there might be some sort of designer or something to answer to, it's scaring me because, you know, I don't want to be judged and pointed out as being a licker of cats' bums. So I'm going to avoid that and commit myself to nothingness created me and everything, so that way I don't need to feel any responsibility. Yeah, that's maybe just my take on it. Who knows?
I also advocate for science as well as argue against.
You can't be advocating for science if you're going to start waffling shite about bendy oceans, mate. What kind of engineer is going to come forward and start telling me that oceans bend? Have you got anything practical to reference that would even remotely suggest that any of that is in any way, shape or form even possible? No, you don't. So don't tell me you're defending science, son. In fact, you better start defining what you mean by science. Okay? So if you're talking about the natural sciences, you're not defending that at all. What you're defending is language. What you're defending is religious hogwash. What you're defending is cartoons for morons like you. Yes.
Religious dogmatism and religious arguments, I guess.
What are the globe?
And yeah, so tonight's going to be a fun discussion.
Oh, you're going to be fun.
Good. Okay. Let's. I kind of wanted. I said before the show started. I kind of wanted to start at the free men on the land thing, because I think that will be the
for fuck's sake,
the shortest hit topic, and we're going to focus mainly on the flat Earth, but just because I'm interested in how that works and what all that entails. And we actually are having a debate on this very...
I'll sum it up for you, son. Freeman on the land is all about fucking asking for people's permissions so that you can be free. It's fucking nonsense, right? If you're caught up in fucking games and entering into contracts, then you're going to be subject to those contracts. It's simple. The real Freeman on the land stuff comes down to individualism. It comes down to being free in your own mind. Okay? No asking people for your freedom. It comes down to freeing yourself from all the ties of expectation and ideas and concepts that have been pushed to you. That's what it's really about. So it doesn't matter if somebody comes along and sticks you in a wee box. Your mind is still your own. You will still be free within yourself. That's what it really means. Okay? Summed up for you. There you go.
Thing with another gentleman who is a sovereign citizen. He'll be coming in a couple of weeks to do that. But just to kind of give everybody a clue in as to what free men on the land is, can you kind of give a brief summary?
Change that to free man in your own fucking mind. Okay? And then you'll be a free man on any land or dimension or whatever the fuck you are. Okay? Stop calling it that.
Of what positions that you hold and what that entails?
Right. Well, free man on land basically is somebody who's discovered the deception behind the legal system, and well,
You know, that's an angle you could come at. You know, there's all deceptions there. Free man on the land is when you discover you've been an absolute fucking idiot for assuming things and believing things and listening to hearsay and taking on board all the concepts and ideas that were ever pushed to you. Once you realise that and you break through them and eradicate them, then you're a free man. Own the land or the water or in the air, wherever you happen to be. So I'm going to save you the waffle, Dave. Sorry, man.
Tell you that it's wrong, but there are instances where, like, people like sociopaths and psychopaths. How do you explain those?
Humans know it's wrong. Psychopaths obviously don't know it's wrong.
Okay, so psychopaths are different than humans. They're not
Pretty
human.
much. Pretty much.
Okay, if they're not,
It's a wee bit absurd, you know, statements like that. You know, psychopaths are different from humans. You know, you have humans with all these tendencies. They are all humans.
not human, then what are they?
that goes not human. That goes into
But where do you find, like, how do you know what this moral code is? Because a lot of different people have different ideas as to what is moral and what is not, what is right, what is wrong.
essentially it comes down to the Ten Commandments.
Okay, so it's religious in nature.
No, because the Ten Commandments aren't part of religion.
No, godless engineering, it's an evolutionary process that was useful to us in order to help us to propagate our existence and have a better life and for the species to survive. Natural selection and evolution and all that stuff sees some unguided sequence that starts selecting bits and bobs and decides what's better for us and what helps the genes to survive and keep going, what's more beneficial. So it's like a conscious, unconscious nothingness that's ruling stuffs.
Religion, they're part of a way of life. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, where do you find the Ten Commandments?
Before we go on with that, let me ask this.
Before we go on with that, let's skip past the bullshit.
Absolutely not. I'm not
Okay.
religious in
I
any
got
shape or
atheist.
form. However, I was an atheist for 40 years. I do know that there is a book of remembrance, just book in nature.
Or may have not had their license, or they've been revoked, or whatever reason they're driving without a license. Now, how does that play out with a free man on the land? Because I think that was the most fascinating thing for me in terms of your videos, and this will be the kind of last question that I have just for this section. But I think it's interesting how that played out. And can you also tell us what you remember in the beginning of the video you handed the officer?
Oh, go on with it.
Use it privately. I'm not actually driving. I'm traveling. Yeah. There is a difference between driving and traveling that most people aren't aware of. So I sent those notices out, waiting for a rebuttal. I received none. So according to a maxim of law, he who is silent consents.
Cheers, West Coast Wisdom. I've just got a message saying skip to 24 minutes. That's obviously where it starts. So I'll go scroll it.
I'm deciding there's a law now that says you must have a license and you must pay this and that and the other. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a difference.
Okay. So on that note, I will say that no, you can't guarantee that nobody's going to get hurt, and that is the purpose of the regulations that we impose. You can't guarantee with what.
Oh, shut up, mate. You know, the regulations that we impose, you can't guarantee nobody get hurt. Giving somebody a bit of fucking plastic is in no way, shape or form any assurance or insurance that they're not going to be a moron in the road. Here's a wee example for you. Shall I give you one, sonny boy, just so you can open the cloudy eyes of perception, right? Here in the UK, you know, you can go for a motorbike, a motorcycle license, right? Now, what that consists of is basically having to jump through hoops. Now, what you have to do is you go to a group of people who, you know, give you lessons. Now, these people spend the majority of their time with you, hands-on, from the moment you get there to the minute you go for your test. Now, the role of these people is to get you ready for a test. So they pretty much get you ready to jump through the hoops that the authority is asking you to jump through. So what can happen is this. These guys can have somebody on the bike lessons for 6 months. They know that they're incompetent. They know that after 6 months, they're not quite ready to be on the road. But these people are free to book their test. Now, what actually happens is that these people can go to the test centre, and on that day, they just so happen to be able to fluke it. They just so happen to be able to get it right, to jump through the hoops that's been asked of them. And lo and behold, they are now given a licence to go on the road and drive a 1000cc, 170 brake horsepower motorcycle. Right, the guy who was trying to educate him and teach him knows that he's not quite ready to be in the road, but has absolutely no power of say or anything because the guy has passed the test. So don't give me your fucking shite about putting regulations in to try and stop things from happening. It's fucking bullshit. Right? It's the same as saying, oh, well, the police are there to stop crimes. No, they're fucking no. The police are there to investigate crimes. If a murder's going to happen, having a police force isn't going to stop it. Their job is to go and investigate it afterwards. So your lunatic thinking is absolutely absurd, and Nobby here in the corner nodding his head like a fucking moron is just as bad as you and him probably. So get your head out your arse and stop waffling utter shite. Oh, we need these regulations because it makes your road safe. It stops any old Tom, Dick and Harry getting on the road and driving. Well, any old Tom, Dick and Harry can jump through the hoops that's being asked of them. Doesn't make them competent. Doesn't make them safe on the road. So geese peace, son.
Ever kind of, I don't know, golf cart helicopter that you can come up with that you're not going to crash it into a school bus full of children. I mean, you cannot guarantee that you're not going to hurt people.
Against accident.
You can't guarantee anything, mate. You can't control anything. So go over your ego and your want and wish to control and dominate. Because you can't stop any of these things from fucking happening. Oh, we've imposed, like, people must have licenses to drive cars. Does that stop people without a license jumping in a motor and crashing it? No! Stop being a fucking loony.
Accidents anyway. Right?
Exactly, Dave. Exactly, Dave.
Wouldn't it be worse though if it was not regulated and you would have people of any age or under any?
This is a lunacy of these people. Listen to them. Oh, if we can get a committee together and impose a statute, oh, it's going to stop stuff. Oh, I'm so scared. I need to control the world and everybody around me.
Type of influence, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or whatever, that could just decide to drive. And that would be kind of chaotic and unsafe.
No, mate, it's just going to happen regardless. Right? What you would have to be presuming is that everybody's a fucking moron. Is it projection? Eh? Are you such a scared little snowflake? Oh, everybody will be chaos if we didn't have rules and regulations. Oh, you've got all your rules and regulations. Accidents are happening every day. People are still jumping in cars and crashing them and killing people. People are still getting up to all sorts of naughtiness, regardless of dipshits like you, him, and him, trying to impose wee idiotic, insecure structures. Get real.
Right.
Yeah, public safety has to take precedence there.
No, public safety has to take precedence.
You've got these things called hoverboards right now, just little things that you stand on and you go like at walking pace, yeah, and don't harm anybody. Can't really, it's like exactly the same as walking, but you're not using your own energy, yeah. Same thing, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
you're not.
Cars are a lot bigger and go a lot back.
A horse is big.
Well, what about aircraft? Should you be able to fly your own aircraft in any airspace you want, anywhere you want?
Is that where you get?
No, according to you, because you're an insecure controller. You want to dominate the world and portion it up to suit your wee narratives. What right has anybody got to impose any sort of system or rules and regulations on anybody? Who has the right to play this role of God or an overseer or any of that stuff? Can you answer these questions, sir? No, you can't. You don't have any right, and neither does anybody else, as far as I can see.
Going to do just come up with
Well, there is an analogy. I mean, if it applies to one for the roads, why would it not equally
You
apply
said-
for airspace?
Well, he said travel. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
point of
traveling. Traveling in the air.
Oh,
Okay, well,
for God's sake.
fundamentally, yes, you should be able to travel by air.
Exactly, Dave.
Any way you see fit.
Exactly,
You
Dave.
don't want me flying a plane. Trust me.
But these insecure guys don't like that, Dave. These insecure guys want to control everything. These insecure guys are so scared of the world and people and everything around about them that they feel that they need to dominate it. It's guys like us that perpetuate this bollocks that we live in.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
want
then
you.
that would be-
I do have a simulator, and it's bad. So
I don't want you flying a plane either.
Then that would be you irresponsible. Then.
Exactly, Dave.
no, I'm just incompetent flying aircraft.
Well, if you know you're incompetent, again, it comes down to educating people and people being discerning and understanding themselves and being balanced. But, right now we're not in that kind of situation, so we've got all sorts of crazy behaviours going on, all right? But Dave's right. Really, fundamentally, people should just be free to do what the fuck they want. If they're imposing on anybody else, then we've got an issue, which is why we put measures in place like, a police force or a system of such. But even at that, that comes with saying problems. When is it we're ever going to get back to one-to-one? The world would be chaos. The world would be, again, these conversations that I've had with people, well, if we didn't have these rules and stuff, you would just rape me and steal my stuffs. Such an insecure statement. World's full of snowflakes, and these snowflakes demand people like this. These other snowflakes.
But I recognize
Okay,
that.
but it'd be you irresponsible getting in an aircraft and flying if you don't think you could.
But there are responsible people that drive that shouldn't be driving. So
And
I think this is a good
right
spot
now.
to flip over to the
And right now
pilots.
Yay!
Let's go ahead and flip over to what we're here about. So that I was just kind of curious where your thoughts were on that. And John, I'm gonna let you ask kind of the questions that you usually do on your channel for evidence, and kind of let you guys have a discussion. Steve and I are gonna fall back and let it just be you two having a conversation. Just both of you try not to talk over each other so that everybody can hear what you're saying. And if we get off topic or whatever, Steve and I will step in and ask some questions. But we're gonna kind of let you guys have a back and forth now.
Okay. All right. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what has convinced you that the Earth is flat in particular?
See, this is where it comes into the language and the stance that for me, I would take, and I would hope that other people start adopting. Because right away you should be turning around to this guy and saying, look, mate, there isn't a fucking flat earth. What flat earth are you referencing here? Now, I'm going to assume that Dave Murphy is here to represent, a circular AE type map with ice walls and stuff like that. So by rights, and this is the thing, if Dave is here under the banner of that particular straw man, then these people have got every right to ask these questions. Now, they know this probably, especially him. He knows that Dave's coming with a straw man. So he's excited about that because now he's got a cartoon that he can, pull apart and bum up his wee ego and fill himself with some more fucking hoobry. And so does this dipshit. And probably him and the wee voice that comes in from the background. Right? So right away, in an ideal sense, from my point of view, Dave would be turning around and saying, here, mate, I'm not here to represent any cartoons. What flat earth are you referencing? Which flat earth are you asking me to represent? Because as far as I'm aware, there is none. I'm just a real guy who's on this path of self-discovery and questioning the world I'm living in. And I have addressed the globe, the claim that was made to me, which is the accepted and established claim that I am questioning and that you should be answering to, right? So how did you come to it? Oh, I realised that what I believed in the globe was utter bullshit, and I found no proof, no measurable proof, no practical demonstrations of any of its absurd claims, and that's where you should finish it. And let them wriggle about in uncomfortableness as they realise that they're up against somebody who's not representing any bullshit, and that they need to sort their act out.
The lack of curvature, the gyroscope, just me going out and performing experiments myself.
Okay. What kind of experiments have you performed yourself?
Okay, I went to Lake Balaton in Hungary and performed a laser test across the lake, where we shot a laser just above the surface.
Again, you know, these things, and again, I'm going to reiterate it, Dave, no offence, it's nothing personal, but what is this idiocy about? This fucking bullshit about, oh, I took a laser or something that's less accurate than the actual substance I'm trying to shine the laser across. Why no word that straight back to him and say, because, you know, I went to basic physics, I went to fluid mechanics, basic fundamental physics, and realised the absurdity of people trying to tell me that any liquid can conform to the exterior of any shape, that all liquids will seek level, and that any body of water from one point to the other is going to be at the same elevation level. That's where you should be going. No, oh, look at me, I'm a big interesting dude and I flew to such and such and I shined a laser and it makes me look more sciencey guy stuffs. Nah, fuck him. Water doesn't behave like that, sonny boy. Now what are you going to say?
I think we got something like, don't quote me, this was 2 years ago. I think we got 12 kilometres.
I need to pause it. I need to go and get another drink. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Right. Where are we? Am I still on? Fuck, I can't stop screen sharing. Right. Marshall, you there?
Yep, slightly muted, but I am here.
Nice one, mate. Just wanted to check I'm still on because I can't move away from that screen, obviously.
Yeah, you're still on and still screen sharing, dude.
Right, okay.
And found that the laser was exactly the same height above the water that it started at. So that kind of disproved an experiment that
just twist it back on him and say, mate, you're calling yourself an engineer. You should know fluid mechanics, right? You should know. You should know how to establish level, plumb, square. You should know these things if you're supposed to be an engineer. You better get somebody in to check these shelves just to make sure, because I wouldn't trust anything you're up to if you didn't know that.
Even Hawking chaired on television, doing the same thing and getting results that only that proves the Earth is curved. And we took lots of photographs and the photographs were GPS, verified. So we had position points, and yeah, we had all the data proves that the Earth is flat.
What proves it, Dave?
Okay.
I also went to the Bonneville Salt Flats. Did some similar experiments there.
Just ask him how dams are built and how canals are built. Ask him that. Ask godless engineer how the fuck a dam or a canal's built. Ask him. Ask him.
Yeah, I've every time I fly anywhere, I speak to the pilots and ask them about their gyroscopic controls, the attitude indicator, the artificial horizon. I get lots and lots of different answers there.
Okay. I mean, on the laser experiment across the lake, did you account for atmospheric refraction at the surface of the lake that causes the light or any electromagnetic waves to bend over the curve?
See, it's funny how you ask these things, but yeah, I bet you if it was a globe idiot like the Discovery Channel, you'd have no qualms because that suits your bias, son. Right? Why are you not even, realising that it's preposterous to try and use a laser across the water when your wee engineering brain, if there's one in there, should know that the water's level from one point to the other because it's not flowing away. Like a river. Rivers flow because there's a decrease in elevation from one point to the other. Right? Once the water stops flowing, you know that it's damming up, and that if it's not flowing anywhere from any point that you choose to the other, it's going to be fucking level. End of story. Globe dead. Done and dusted. Nothing to go on. Start again.
Actually, the very first test we did, we found the opposite. Actually, we found that the laser went parallel to the surface of the water, and suddenly at the end, pretty much the end part of it curved upwards. I mean, very sharply. It wasn't that it bounced off the water or anything. It literally curved upwards, which doesn't follow your theory either.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious as to why you say that it sharply curved upwards rather than like there's the instead of drawing a straight line from the end of your laser pointer to the where it actually landed. Why do you go the route of, oh, it's perfectly parallel and then it curves upwards?
Because that's the
because it's flawed, because you can't account for every individual millimetre from each point to the next and how that laser is going to be affected by whatever's in the air. Sun, right? That's why water is more accurate, especially over a longer distance. Okay? So again, professing to be some sort of engineer, you would think you would fucking know this. You'd think that you would know that people who use lasers always double check or should always double check with a fucking spirit level.
Photographic evidence we have, and the photographs are very clear. And that was the experience that we had when we were on the lake in a boat chasing the beam. Yeah, we suddenly saw this beam very suddenly start going upwards.
Okay, and it couldn't have dawned on you that maybe you were,
Nope.
your elevation was changing or anything
Nope.
like that. Like
it doesn't. The elevation doesn't change suddenly. It's not like we're not on a
the elevation doesn't change on any body of water, silly ass. The elevation's the same no matter where you are on a standing body of water. Stupid.
step world, are we? No.
okay,
If we're on a curved surface, the change would be gradual. No, this was sudden. Yeah, we even thought the laser must be striking the water or something, but it wasn't.
Okay. Well, not having the actual evidence right here in front of me to.
you never went where I was hoping you would go, so I could try and trap you into some idiotic point. So now I'm just going to not even acknowledge it and just, well, I don't know about that because I don't have the data and stuff. Jeez.
See, I can't really make a judgment on like where you might have went wrong or anything like that. So,
where they went wrong is that they were being stupid by even pointing a laser over a standing body of water. You know, the rational, logical reason in mind, the scientific mind, should be, you know, basing things purely on the first principle of liquids and their mechanics, and know beyond any shadow of a doubt that it's no curving up or down or anywhere. It's going to be level, and that's where you start. That should be your first premise. That is where you have to begin. It's an abundant substance that can be tested by every single person alive. It is known and applied in a practical fashion by billions of people all across the pond every single fucking day. Right?
Right. Well, I will say that that was the first test where we had the laser literally a few inches above the water. It's Lake Balaton is only 1 meter deep, so it doesn't have waves, and but the humidity is very high at the surface. We repeated the experiment with the laser maybe 2 foot above the water, and we didn't get the same effect.
Do you have a link to that data? People are asking.
Why do you need a link to data? You should know the behaviour of liquids as well, mate. What are you talking about, data? You know, it's fucking simple.
Yes, if you put in Lake Balaton laser experiment into YouTube, you'll find it.
Okay. And later on, we'll link to that too for people who are watching this later.
And also that there's in the description there's a link to a spreadsheet with all the data.
Just out of curiosity, do you remember the distance off the top of your head, how many miles it was?
I believe it's 12 kilometers, but you know
12 kilometers?
Yes.
What's the kilometer?
1,000 meters.
Getting.
And we're Americans, we don't do that metric stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Okay, so how do you explain? You mentioned GPS.
You notice, because Dave's here, under a straw man, it gives them the free rein to sit here like judge and jury and pose the questions like Dave's under scrutiny here, when really Dave should be reversing the roles. These dipshits are representing the claim, which is the globe. That's the claim that was pushed to us. So Dave should be sitting here as judge and jury investigator and taking control and posing the questions to them. That's how it should be. No, this 3-on-1 of him representing a straw man and having to answer to these fucking morons. They should be answering to you, Dave. Sort it out.
A minute ago, how do you explain the GPS situation if we're not oblate spheroid?
What would an oblate spheroid have to do with GPS?
Exactly, Dave.
Well, GPS global positioning satellites. They're satellites that are orbiting the Earth. There's
assumptions, and insistence that these things are true. That Dave should be instantly pulling him up on these assumptions and stopping them in his tracks and saying, these are assumptions. Can you prove these assumptions?
Giant network of them. You have to have at least 3 satellites in the air at any one time in order to pinpoint your position.
No, you don't. You need triangulation that was done by towers, mate. I have a book here on flight and how it was achieved from 1936 that lays out exactly how it was done, and it's still done to this very day.
Could you tell me how that worked before there were ever satellites?
Exactly,
because
Dave.
Before GPS, there were 2 systems. One was called LORAN, one was called DECA. They were radio triangulation systems that were used in World War II. So
they weren't just used in World War II. They were used from the inception of aircraft and how they started to track and map. So it was used before and afterwards. But good on you for bringing it up.
How do they work?
Well, I mean, I don't know about those particular things, but I mean, GPS.
But he doesn't know about these fucking things. Why no? Why no, son? What kind of position are you in? Again, just showing your religious bias, that you're not even investigating anything or tracing anything to verify or falsify what you hold to be true. You're just assuming that it's true because you think you've got the weight of some gang behind you, when really you just look like an insecure moron now, because you don't have anybody behind you. Nobody.
No, you don't, because you haven't. No, you
Hey,
don't.
hey,
You
hey,
haven't
hold on.
researched.
I try not to interrupt you. Please don't interrupt me.
Now he's getting annoyed because Dave's pointing out exactly that. Because Dave knows he's no researched. For him to be saying he doesn't know what Loran or Deca is or how things worked before, you know, the professed space agencies, he's a dishonest moron. And he doesn't like it.
Okay. All right. So.
Okay, all right. Look at we're seeing the bully attitude now, sonny boy. I can't wait to see if you start that shite with me. I highly doubt it, my man. Highly doubt it.
GPS satellites work off the basic idea of trilateration. I know I probably fucked that up, but so basically, if you have 3 landmarks or 3 points where you know their locations and you know how far you are from each location, then you can pinpoint where you are on the map. You know, explorers and everything have been doing this for a.
There's simple wee videos, mate, that you can go and watch where they take children out in boats and they show them how to triangulate their position in regards to where they are on a map and how to triangulate each other's positions so that they can communicate and meet up. It's all there. Very simple stuff that you could go if you weren't such a pie-eating lazy shit, right? You know, into your religious bias and thinking you're pompous and up there and some sort of intellect. You're just lazy, insecure, and dishonest.
While now, it's a basic technique, and it's what GPS uses. And I'm guessing that the systems that you also mentioned were a network of similar systems. I'm sure that it probably wasn't as
cartoony,
precise as GPS.
You mean it's not as cartoony? And it was precise. People were using it long before any of the professed space agencies interjected and says, oh, we need a market now because we've got this middleman. It's wee tin cans that we send into the vacuum that's adjacent to your pressurised system. We send them up there and they zip about and they send signals and stuff like that. But we can't pinpoint you if you get lost up the mountains. We can't pinpoint you if we lose any aircraft or any stuff like that because they're out of the range of the towers. But there'll be an excuse for why the tin cans in the vacuum don't have that capability. I'm sure you'll have an excuse, sonny boy.
Units, but yeah, I would imagine that would be the same principle that they work on.
Imagine. Well, why are you imagining anything?
Okay, they were precise because they were military. Okay, just like GPS is supposedly military. Yeah, same thing.
Well, yeah.
The same thing. Yeah. The only difference is that the Deca or LORAN system has just been updated with a computer interface. That's all. Mm-hmm. It's radio triangulation, exactly the same way that you can flip open your phone and look on Google Maps and find out exactly where you are, because you know it's using a similar process with the 3 nearest radio towers.
Okay. What evidence do you have that suggests that it?
Before we even go there, okay. So Dave's just made a valid point, and dipshit here's not even got the capacity or the honesty to acknowledge Dave's point. He just says like, okay, I'm not willing to believe that because I know it sounds rational and reasonable, but it doesn't fit with my bias.
The GPS satellites don't actually exist.
Again, shifting the burden of proof onto Dave. Are you certain that tin cans are flying about the vacuum of space, the vacuum that coexists next to your pressurised environment without a solid separation? Are you insisting that? Are you professing it's true? The burden lies with you, sonny boy. The burden lies with you. No, Dave, you.
Because they're not necessary to exist.
Dave, you don't even have to answer, Dave. He's asking you, what evidence do you have that they don't exist? right? He's asserting and affirming that they do exist. He has the burden of proof. No, you, Dave. You should have instantly stopped him and says that to him. Hang on. Are you professing and insisting that they are true? And if you are, what do you have to suggest they are true? Just because somebody says it and they show images of cartoon satellites in space, that's in no way, shape, or form any proof of anything. So you're under no obligation to answer that question. You need to return that. Are you claiming they're true?
Yeah, the radio towers do exactly the same thing. If you want evidence that that satellites don't exist, well, you know, you can lie down on your back in a field at midnight and supposedly see the satellite things flying overhead. Yeah, have you seen?
Dave, what if they've got balloons up there? What if they've got balloons or something else that's floating about, and people are, they might even say here, oh, we did see them. You know, you don't even have to go there. You just have to return the question and ask them what their claim is. Are they claiming it's true? Are they claiming they're real? What proof do they have that they're real? Simple as that.
No.
Well, I mean, I had done that particular thing. Apparently, Steve has seen them now.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
apparently, Steve's seen them. So Dave's offered up, you know, a rebuttal and a bit of grey ground here, murky waters, because he's wee example of lying on your back and, you know, looking up and seeing dots. But I've looked up and seen dots moving about, but that doesn't mean to say that it's what they claim they are. Right? It's still no measurable proof. It's still no proof of what they're professing to be true.
I don't have the thing with me, but I drew up a picture of Earth to scale, and I drew two concentric circles, coinciding with 99 miles and 1200 miles. Okay, to show, and it's pretty very, you know, when you see the scale of the Earth, it's very close to the surface. Both circles, but when you realize that when half the Earth is in shadow, okay, you know, you would not see those satellites because they would be in shadow. Yeah, they're too. I'd have to show you.
See, you know, we're getting into stuff that doesn't have to be said. Again, if you just cut them and you bring them back to it, and you ask them if they're claiming it's true, and then you can then lead into the questions of, okay, so are you then professing that, you know, a pressurized environment coexists next to this empty, you know, vacuous space without any solid separation? Can you reference me something practical and direct reality that would even remotely suggest that any of that is in any way, shape or form slightly possible or even true? And they would have to come back with, no, they can't. So it's a belief that they hold, it is a bias that they hold, and it is flawed reasoning. It's flawed, right? You don't have to get into these. This is, you start to see Dave getting caught in here and fluffing about, trying to come up with things to say, and they're just sitting back, you know, leading the way and letting him fall into the traps. This is where you have to get smart. You have to be strong. You have to be assertive. You know, don't be shy. Don't be timid. Just voice it, put it right back to them.
The image, but literally, when you're lying on your back at midnight, yes, the sun is the other side of the planet from you. Yeah. So when you're looking at the satellites going overhead, you know, they literally go from one horizon to the next. Yeah. You shouldn't see them. Satellites don't have lights on them, and you know, if you're trying to see something that is the size of a car, or between a car and a school bus, which is between 99 and 1200 miles away, there's no way you should be able to see them.
Okay, so you're saying that they are not made of like reflective material at all or anything?
Where they're getting the light to reflect from?
Well, I mean, you know, the sun.
Oh, I hope you sit in front of me, sir. I really hope you, have the backbone to sit in front of me.
sun is pretty big and exists.
Yes,
right?
it's pretty big, but so is the Earth, and it's in between the satellite and the sun.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you're gonna
Well, according to your model, what Dave just said would be true, mate. All right.
deny the fact that the sun will reflect off of shiny material, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, no, I'm not denying that. I'm saying that it won't reflect if there's something big in the way that's stopping the light getting there.
He knows what you're saying, Dave. He just doesn't want to recognise it or acknowledge it because he's dishonest. You should have realised that by now.
Well, I mean, you realize that I can't remember what the altitude of the GPS satellites are, but
I
mean,
can't remember. Can't remember, but he's quite prepared to believe. He's not really prepared for anything, this guy. Not done any research or traced any paths to verify or falsify any of the things that he holds to be true. No, we're getting a real picture for this dude.
And you realize that they're pretty high up there, and I mean, you also
Low Earth
have
orbit
Low Earth orbit could be anywhere from 99 miles down
to 1200.
Right.
1200 mark.
David, are you saying that there are people who are lying back on their back and can see that?
Yes, you go out and
What are they seeing then?
I don't know. I can't
Exactly.
tell you, but
Okay.
they're not satellites.
Okay.
Okay.
But, you know, it just comes down to the terminology of satellites. They could be using things to transmit signals through balloons or any other craft, which is a possibility. But Dave's quite right. Doesn't he know? Honest. That's the answer.
How do you explain areas of the Earth where there are no radio towers, but you can get a GPS signal?
Well, funny enough, there's a place that there aren't any GPS.
What do you mean, mate? Do you mean like when I go into a tunnel with my phone and the wee blue arrow keeps moving? That's because it's all built into the phone. It doesn't need any external influence. What about places that shouldn't be out of signal range? Right? And you're losing signal. What about
Towers. There's no way to find them, and funny enough, you don't get GPS signals. That's over in the southern hemisphere, over the water. Okay,
Over the water in the southern hemisphere. I mean, have you traveled in the
no, but you can go online to any plane tracker, yeah, and you'll find all the planes in the northern hemisphere, you know, being tracked. But you start tracking a plane taking off in the southern hemisphere, yeah, it will take off, you will see it being tracked, and it will go for about an hour and then disappear and reappear an hour before landing. It's not being, there's no GPS. No, you go and have a look, check yourself.
Yeah, like you said, southern hemisphere. Do you know?
I wonder if any of these dipshits have ever heard of the transatlantic highways. Wait a wee minute, I stop screen sharing here. North Atlantic tracks, officially titled the North Atlantic Organised Track System, is a structure set of transatlantic flight routes that stretch from the northeast of North America to Western Europe across the Atlantic Ocean. They ensure that aircraft are separated over the ocean, where there is little radar coverage. These heavily travelled routes are used by aircraft travelling between North America and Europe, flying between the altitudes of 29,000 and 41,000 feet inclusive. Entrance and movement along these tracks is controlled by special oceanic control centres, air traffic controllers, to maintain separation between airplanes. The primary purpose of these routes is to allow air traffic control to effectively separate the aircraft because of the volume of that traffic. Allowing aircraft to choose their own coordinates would make the ATC task far more complex. They are aligned in such a way as to minimise any headwinds and maximise tailwinds impact on the aircraft. This results in much more efficiency by reducing fuel burn and flight time. To take such efficiencies possible, the routes are created twice daily to take account for the shifting of the winds aloft the principal traffic flow, eastward and North America. So you can go and read a wee bit more about these transatlantic highways and why they were put into place. And it's still the same. If I get a flight and I want to leave from here to fucking America, the plane will go down to, you know, the southern regions of the UK, and it will enter into these transatlantic highways or North Atlantic tracks, whatever you like, you know, because they lose signal, they lose coverage. Oh, I wonder how that's happening. Oh, we don't know. The wee satellites have been blocked by alien jobby. An alien took a jobby and it got in the way of the satellite signals and we can't find the airplane, so we'll need to use these wee tracks, right? Hold on. Just bear with me a wee second here. Aye, anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. People can go and find out about that stuff for themselves. All right. So back to screen share.
What a hemisphere is.
Yes, I know, and it's a linguistic term. And
He's just looking for any wee immature points that he can score to impress his fucking dipshit buddies here, mate. You're an absolute buffoon. Ooh, Dave used the word hemisphere. Oh, so sharp, so witty. What an intellect.
you just used it for your benefit.
Well
Oh,
said,
okay.
Dave. Well said, Dave.
So what would be for? I have to clarify. If it's not in the southern hemisphere, where is it on the flat Earth then?
The other side of the equator from the north.
Okay, so the outer ring. Would that be better? Okay.
Yes,
now,
let's call
I
it
mean,
the outer ring then.
I was going to ask that actually, John. Before you, I was going to ask that very question. Do you think that the Arctic Circle or the Antarctica is the ring around the edge of the Earth? Is that safe?
Yes, indeed. And
Okay,
it just so happens to be my conception or my idea, which is just speculation, that there is more land beyond.
You know, I'm glad Dave said that, you know, because this is important, that it's his theory, his speculation, and that he's not professing it to be true. Again, it's important for the language and for you to, you know, establish this with any of these people if you're going to engage with them. Make it clear.
What they call Antarctica, and beyond that is the firmament, the dome.
all right, so what's the dome made of?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Okay. But I mean, you've obviously been able to track like airplanes as they go across.
Again, there would be absolutely no necessity for Dave to even enter into these types of conversations if he had taken the honest approach from the off. I'm not saying he's being disingenuous, you know, some people are just, you know, it's just the level they're at. It could be misguided, you know, or it's just the level that they're at. But again, if Dave came under the banner of being a denier of the globe and that he represented no strawman maps and models, he could be avoiding the whole lot of this, because every time they try and invoke it, you could keep bringing them back to it and saying, I don't represent any of that, why are you even discussing it?
That's the outer ring ocean, but I'm kind of curious, like why can't we like hit the dome or anything like that?
It's funny that Admiral Byrd went to the so-called South Pole, took a huge military group with him, including a lot of planes, and was supposed to be there for months. Came back after like a few weeks, and with a lot of planes missing, and the encyclopedia map.
Again, I wouldn't even be reciting any of this stuff because you get no way of verifying or falsifying any testimony from any man, especially when it's a military personnel. and you just don't know what their agenda is. And remember, they've got an oath to what it is they're serving. So for me, I wouldn't even invoke Admiral Bard or any of these hearsay stories that have came from anybody. There's absolutely no necessity. You're just a real person who has awoken within this situation, and you're figuring it out. There's no reason to recite anybody's testimony or hearsay. It's irrelevant. It's useless.
Americana edition, basically entry for Antarctica for the year after he came back, says that there's a dome at 13,000 feet. It's not me. It says it in the encyclopedia.
Well, I mean, I know about Admiral Byrd, but I mean, he also thinks that the Earth is hollow, does he not?
I'm sure he does. That's up to him, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so the Earth can't be level and have hollow parts there. I mean, what's your point here? And he's like, of course. Oh, if he says it's hollow, that means it can't be flat because we think flat means this nonsense here. So how can that be hollow? Oh, what a laugh. This is the absolute stupidity of these people.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that the Earth is hollow?
I don't know. I've not been there.
Aye, there's hollow parts there, mate. You ever heard of caves? Do you know what a cave is? For fuck's sake, as if you've been living in one. Surely you know what a cave is. No, maybe no.
Steve's actually has somebody that he knows that was on the South Pole.
I literally had somebody call me standing on the South Pole with a Iridium satellite sat phone.
Oh, what do you do? Steve got a phone call from somebody on a patch of ice. Therefore, the Earth's a fucking globe. Wonderful reasoning and logic, Steve. I heard stories about you that you were meant to be some sort of intellect. No very impressed so far, Steve. You just look like another dishonest moron buffoon so far.
It's on YouTube. You can check it out.
Okay. And did he show you the like a compass spinning around wildly?
Why would it spin around wildly?
Because everywhere is north.
That doesn't mean it would spin.
Well, no. I mean, if everywhere was, I mean, the compass should be pointing just back towards the center, quote unquote, center of the Earth. It wouldn't be spinning every.
What, back towards the molten, melted magma? What happens to magnets again when you melt them? Oh, that's right. Those are magnetism. What are you talking about, mate? Huh? What the fuck are you rambling on about?
Everywhere. That seems like a local.
Okay, so why did he show you that?
Huh?
Why would he need?
You're the one that said.
How do you know he's there? I'm just saying. I'm just trying to
because I got
break
the phone
down
call from an Iridium satellite, and
I'm
he
just
was
trying
in
to
an
break.
expedition to the South Pole with other people. That was
Okay,
actually
I'm
tracked.
trying to break down whether he was at the South Pole or the ceremonial South Pole, which is a barbershop pole set up somewhere.
He was at the ceremonial, not the magnetic. He was at the
Nice.
barbershop.
Okay,
the barbershop pole.
And
Go ahead, John.
It's moved.
Go ahead, John.
Well, hold on. Okay, so going back to the flight tracking over the southern hemisphere, or the outer ring, as I guess we're using it for this particular thing. So I did a little bit of Googling while people were arguing, and here's a guy, Cameron Beck, who's had 50 years of flight experience with aircraft and hang gliders, says that's because the flight tracking sites such as FlightAware and Flight Radar 24 are displaying radar data via ADS-B receivers over vast expanses of ocean, North and South Atlantic and Pacific. There are no radar sites and thus no way to track the flights. And then, of course, it says GPS, of course, works by reception only. The GPS receiver on the plane receives the signal from the GPS satellites and calculates its position for the for display to the pilot. So there's no way to actually use GPS to track the flight as it's flying over the ocean. So I would say that particular evidence for you is a little debunked.
It's the same for you, mate. Just waffling utter fucking crap now.
Sorry, yeah, okay. So you just Googled something, you know, just some guy saying this stuff, okay? Most of these flight tracking systems say they are using GPS data, okay? So
okay.
you're
Go ahead.
and
Sorry.
and you want to do the same thing. So so they're saying they're using GPS data. Now you just said, oh, I've just Googled somebody who says otherwise. So you're saying that you're debunking it by
See, this is the lunacy. You know, such and such said, and this guy said that, and this man said the other. You know, it's just no enough. You know, this is where you start wandering into fluffland about utter fucking bullshit, and I'm starting to lose the will to fucking live, and I'm only 44 minutes into it. Right? Oh, that's extrapolating and you know, nonsense, you know, points being raised and argumentation that is just no necessary. Right? How does a fucking aircraft work? What's the fundamentals? How does it work? Cartesian coordinates, okay. How do we establish, you know, takeoff and landing from level? All right, okay, aye. How's it work? Well, it uses a gyroscope. What happens if all the instrumentation fails? Oh, in order to achieve straight and level flight, we just look at the horizon and keep the distance between the top of the dashboard and the horizon the same so that we know we're flying fucking straight. You know, let's get into the fundamentals of how an aircraft actually operates and what it has to assume so that you can even plan out any routes or indicators. Right? Because it's all starting from a level line. So you know your angle of takeoff, till you get your altitude, and then you level off and you fly level to your destination, and then you come down and you know your angle of approach to land back on the level. And if you looked at the fucking diagrams and stopped eating pies and cakes, you would know that. It's staring you right in the fucking face.
say so of somebody who just says, oh well, they're not doing what they're saying they're doing something else.
Okay,
And
so well, no. So one thing is explanatory power. With me being a software engineer and actually specifically working on mission planning software, where
Oh, he's a software engineer, so he presses fucking buttons on a keyboard. Ah, right. That probably uses plane geometry. Right? Presses buttons on a fucking keyboard and words himself as an engineer. That's not the engineer that I know. The engineers that I know deal with direct substance and objective reality, constructing stuff and putting things together, that have got a more fundamental understanding of the world we actually live in than you have, mate. Because as I say, you've not done anything strenuous in your fucking entirety, apart from sitting there playing PlayStation and eating shite and pressing buttons on a fucking keyboard. I suggest you open the fucking door and get outside and start observing your actual reality and stop listening to morons like him who are a bad influence on you.
GPS coordinates are very important. I would say that there's no way to hack into the GPS receiver of an airplane in order to get the raw data from it. The airplane would have to receive the information first and then transmit it to some other authority in order to relay that to whatever website that you're using. So you cannot get the GPS coordinates of a single plane without the plane telling you what those coordinates are. So if you can tell me exactly
Cartesian coordinates, is that what you're talking about? Cartesian coordinates. Yes, that is what you're talking about. Cartesian coordinates. They don't apply to fucking spheres, matey.
how somebody, the best hacker on earth, I guess, can hack into the freely floating GPS signal that the plane is receiving and get that information over water where there are no cell towers or any kind of radio towers or anything like that. If you can tell me that hacker's name, I would love to know that person.
Oh, well, I don't even know what fucking point he thinks he's fucking made some sort of valid point. What a dick.
Well, you know, again, I don't know very much, detail about about plow transponders, but they do
Well, wait,
have a
GPS
transponder.
transponders, two different things. He's
Well,
telling
no,
you, he's telling you the GPS is receive only. You don't transmit on GPS. So in other words, to get the information, you have to go through a different step system to transmit it. Right, G? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes. Because and he's right, because GPS does not transmit it.
See, I think Dave's realising here he's been dragged into a fucking non sequitur load of bullshit here. Right? Just total fucking lunacy that has made absolutely 0 point whatsoever. Nothing to back up their biased belief in a spherical earth. Nothing.
It's one way. Is Dave frozen or is he stunned?
Again, I started talking.
Well, your picture's stunned.
We thought. I thought we were okay. I thought we were going to wait until we finished before jumping in and interrupting. But
Let's do that.
No, sorry. You froze up. We couldn't hear you.
You're
sorry.
But Dave, it's because you're in an uncomfortable position, and I can see it in you because I've dragged you into nonsense here and tried to baffle you with fucking sophistry. Right? That's what they've done. Right? You've let them play their game instead of keeping control of it and dictating what was actually happening. You've allowed them to pull you into this. And again, they're offering nothing that backs up, nothing practical, nothing demonstrable about any of the claims that the Earth's a sphere. Nothing, Dave.
Avatar completely frozen.
Yeah, your camera froze up. But let's
Okay.
We're starting over now. So go ahead, Dave, respond to that, and we'll everybody take turns.
as I said, I don't know the details of the transponder. The transponder sends data out. Okay, sends data out, including its the flights, the aircraft number, and certain telemetric data. What I don't know if that part of that telemetric data is GPS coordinates.
Well, I would say that it probably does contain the GPS coordinates. Of course, I don't know the specifics about the black box recording or anything like that.
So there's no point in talking about it.
Exactly.
No, there is a point. There is a point, because you're saying that GPS doesn't work over the southern hemisphere waters, when in actuality it does. I mean, unless you have evidence to say that the planes still don't receive a GPS signal, unless you have evidence of that, then I mean, there's no reason to suggest that they don't receive a GPS signal.
Receiving a signal for what? It's built into the fucking the program. It's already built in. An attitude indicator, a direction indicator. Okay, so it's already built in. When you select your position and you move off from that moment, it's constantly accounting for the map that's already built in, so it knows where it is. It's not because it's receiving anything from fucking anywhere. Just as I pointed out with my phone when I used it for directions to go and look at a car. When I went into the tunnel, I lost all signals, all possible transmission or communication. The wee blue arrow was still following the route I was taking because it's built into the device. No, because it's receiving anything from fucking anywhere.
Because we know how GPS satellites work.
No, you don't. You're making assumptions. Again, Dave, you should be jumping on him. He's making assertions based on assumptions that he's not proved. He's not proved satellites are real. Not in any way, shape or form, not even slightly. So you need to hammer him for it. Make him uncomfortable. Make him accept and admit that he's fucking wrong and lying and being deceptive.
Right, so show me the evidence that planes are receiving GPS signals and they're transmitting them, but for some reason all the flight tracking systems are ignoring it.
Well, okay, they're not ignoring it. They're only working with the information that they're given, and the only information that they're given is what's transmitted from the plane. And the plane has to be able to talk to a transmission tower, a cell tower, a radio tower of some kind. And over those particular expanses of water, there just simply aren't any out there. So you're asking me to give you evidence that can't exist in order to show you that you're wrong.
I thought we had telecommunication satellites that allowed you to pick up signals from various places on Earth. That's odd, isn't it?
Exactly, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, you still need to be able to connect. I mean, do you think that cell phones
Oh.
connect directly to the satellites?
No, because they're not real.
Well, no, I don't think so because they're no satellites.
Exactly, Dave.
Okay. Well, no. I'm just saying because cell phones or any kind of telecommunication requires a tower nearby to relay the information to other towers and then up to the satellites.
Again, based on his assumptions, which is just lunacy, flawed reasoning, flawed logic, deceptive, dishonest, moron.
If that's the route that you were going to go.
Why are we talking about cell phones now?
Well, you brought them up.
No, I didn't sort of bring cell phones up. You just sort of.
I don't think we're going to agree on telephone here. So let's go to something that we can, we can kind of.
Well, let's go to something that's not fucking, causing me to lose the will to live. Right, let's move on. Thank fuck.
We work on the cell towers or whatever, and we can get into something that we kind of are more familiar with. You know what I mean? Instead of none of us are cell tower repairmen.
Well, if you give me 20 seconds, I could tell Dave exactly how to see a satellite because I've done it numerous times, and I have some background in that at least. If you take a telescope and go out any night of the week and point it to M42, which is Orion Nebula, and use about 600 millimeter or a 600 focal length, 4-inch with about a 20 millimeter ocular, you just adjust your eyes and wait, and you'll see these little things of light go right across your field of view. Those are satellites.
Aye. Well, what's your definition? What's your definition of a satellite, mate? I noticed how you just left that out there and just leave it up in the fucking air, so that we've got to take for it that your assumption is that it's wee tin cans out in the vacuous, empty fucking space that coexists next to your pressurised environment with no solid separation, which is patently fucking absurd, based on all direct observations and practicality of every fucking human being that's ever existed and ever will exist. So what are you talking about? Oh, I see wee twinkly lights moving, therefore my assumptions are true. Wow.
Right, and I said earlier on that as I drew up the Earth, in to scale, and showed the sun on one side, half the Earth and lit up, half the Earth in shadow. I drew the two lines that corresponded to 99 miles and to 1,200 miles, extended out the shadow, and showed that when you are on the nighttime side of the Earth, there is no way that you're going to see a satellite that is in that band called low Earth orbit, passing from one horizon to the next. Doesn't happen. You can't see it because
again, it just comes down to language, Dave. You have to ask him what his assumptions and his claims are based on satellites. Ascertain that first, and then you've got something to work for. Then there's a foundation of understanding and what he's representing and what his assumptions and claims actually are. And move forward for that.
Satellites do not have lights on them, and they are passing in the Earth's shadow.
I just wonder what they would be seeing then.
I don't know, but they're not satellites.
Exactly, Dave. There are no satellites in regards to what they're asserting there. That's the point, and you're quite right. And the honest stance is to say you don't know what they actually are, but they can be what they assume and profess them to be, based on what I've just highlighted.
John, maybe you can go there because you brought up an interesting point. Where he said the sun side of the Earth and the moon side. Maybe we can go into how it can be light in Australia and dark in our country and how that works.
Okay, yeah. How do you think that the sun and the moon work in the sky? Do you think that they are in the atmosphere or in the dome, or how do you think that works?
They're within the dome.
Again, no foundation for what they're just about to discuss. No laying out of what is asserted, what's assumed, what is claimed by this crew in regards to what the sun and the moon actually are. what your response again should be is back to the honesty. You don't know what these things are. Are they claiming to know what they are? And can they verify and demonstrate to you how it is that they are claiming what they're claiming before we can even discuss the luminaries? You have to look at their assumptions, and then we have to, you know, point out to them that they are assumptions based on nothing other than an assumption. So based on their assumptions of what they are, they're now trying to get you to this, you know, tell them how that works in accordance with your model. Their assumptions that it's a plasma ball of stuffs and a big fucking rock.
Okay. I mean, how do you explain our atmosphere and just not literally setting on fire?
I don't.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about, son? Again, based on his assumptions of what the sun actually is. How about asking the questions about how does our atmosphere not just dissipate away out into the vacuous empty space like we know it to be? How is it our atmosphere even exists in the fucking first place without some sort of containment? Because according to engineering, and again all applied practical knowledge of everyday fucking existence, we know that in order to create pressure in any space, you need a fucking container.
Well, I mean, you have this ball of plasma there because we know what the sun is made of.
Oh, no, you fucking don't. No, you fucking don't.
It's highly compacted hydrogen that is being burned up there, and it's plasma. So you have this extremely hot source of light.
I mean, he's just asserting these things. And Noddy here, you know, oh, I'm just going to nod my head and nod my head with, you know, affirmative nods. It's true.
Right, that's within our atmosphere. And I'm just wondering why it doesn't actually burn up our atmosphere. Can you explain that?
Can you explain to me how you know that it's a huge fireball of hydrogen, you know, exploding? How do you personally know? Tell me.
Okay, first of all, it's not a fireball. It's a ball of plasma. And because of how hot it's burning.
It keeps saying burning, but it's no burning. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about, mate?
And you know,
because we can make observations of the sun, and we can look at it on various light spectrums, and we can know how hot it is by that, and we also know how stars are formed by looking out.
No, you fucking don't.
Seeing them form in other places.
What a complete and utter fucking twat he is, right? Knows fuck all. Nobody knows fucking anything about these things up here. And again, Dave and anybody else that's paying attention to it, you would keep pointing it back and saying, what has any of this got to fucking do with establishing the shape of the fucking earth that we're standing upon? It's got fucking nothing to do with it. Nothing. But all these dipshits are here today to try and score points to make themselves fucking look good. They're not honest. They're not interested in real science or real progression, real discussion. They're game players. Fucking knobs. See right through you.
I'm saying, how do you?
He doesn't, Dave.
Because we're all just going by, you know, something that people have said. Yeah. How do you personally know? Tell me.
It's not because somebody has personally said it. It's because this is what our scientific research has given us, and it has a lot of explanatory.
It's not what somebody has said, it's what our scientific research has done. Again, invoking a fallacy. Again, invoking fallacies. Nobby here is just selective about what he wants to believe and what he doesn't want to believe, based on his investment in particular institutions. And that's what he prefers, that information. Nobby here, as I say, has never left his fucking dungeon. Unless it's to go to the shops to buy more fucking Snickers bars and fucking Mars bars.
Power behind it. So just the same reason why I use the Curara website with the guy that had been, you know, a pilot for 50 years and whatnot, he gives me this explanation. And the explanation actually makes sense with how things work.
No, it doesn't.
It
just makes sense. Makes sense with how things work on your bias, on your assumptions, on your preconceived ideas and beliefs that you want to be true. That's why go to somebody else that will tell you something different.
Science tells us, and it's not just one person that has personally told me this.
Again, it's what science tells us. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by science tells us? Where is this science and who does it belong to? What are you talking about, mate? Again, professing it's a group, an organised group with invested interests that you're aligned with, that you've got a bias for. It's no science. It's a preference. It's a bias. Religious fuckery. Science belongs to each individual, no some institution that you want to prop up and support. Okay? What do you know? What can you directly experience? What can you practically demonstrate in regards to objective reality and your absurd beliefs and claims? That's what you should be focusing on, sonny boy.
This is the preponderance of scientific evidence made through observations that of us looking
constant appeals to fallacious fucking bullshit, appealing to consensus, appealing to authority, waffling his fucking slavering gums off constantly is this boy. What an idiot.
To know how hot it is, to know what it's made of,
you don't know what it's fucking made of.
We can detect different types of radiation that come out of the sun and are hitting.
We can detect different radiation. We know how hot it is. We can do all this stuff, but it doesn't give us anything measurable about the shape of the Earth.
Magnetic field of the Earth. We can detect all of these things, and we know what the sun is made of. We
no, you fucking don't.
The sun is gonna last.
You know what it's fucking made of? Make me a sun, fucko. Make me a fucking sun, dipshit. You fucking know all about the sun. Make me one. You're claiming to know things about objective reality and the substances of objective reality. If you're claiming you know exactly what they are, demonstrate them. Fucking show me it. Go and make a sun, fucko. If you can't, shut your fucking bumbling fucking gums. Stop talking shite, you dishonest wee prick.
Yes, it's good for about another 15 billion years.
Oh, it's good for another 15 billion years. He's fucking saying it with a straight face. What a complete and utter fucking tit. No wonder you're looking like that, Dave. You know he's a fucking moron.
5 billion.
Or, sorry, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, what's a billion?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong about that. Aye, you're a delusional fucking incompetent piece of shit.
It's very intense, yeah.
There.
So, tell me, how does something 93 million miles away, yeah, cause light to come down at angles through broken clouds?
Dave, never mind that. What's your assumptions? You know, how can the gaseous environment, how can we even have a pressurized environment next to a fucking non-pressurized vacuous empty space? What is any it go to do with, you know, establishing the shape of the earth beneath our feet? Fuck all. End of story. Next is what you should be doing.
Reflection? And reflection?
Reflection of what?
I said reflection or reflection.
Huh? Refraction. Yeah? Is that refraction?
Well, yeah, I mean, like off the moon, sunlight is reflected and shines down, and I would suspect the exact same process right there. Reflection.
Oh, I'm just going to assert stuff and make assumptions, and then say, well, I would assume it was the same for all this other stuff that I want to believe is true. This is just a religious twat here. Total fucking goon.
And or refraction. The atmosphere, you know, the reason why the sky is blue is because of Rayleigh scattering in the sky, and that's why it's blue, and that's why it goes orange and everything at night, because of the shifting light spectrum in which it.
Well, it's not because of the excitement of the noble gases. No, it's not nothing like that we can reference and show in practicality. No, it's just this other waffle that fits your narrative again, son. Is it? Right, okay.
Scattering.
But are you asking about corpuscular rays? Is that what you're asking for, Dave? Parallel light?
Yeah. Okay, we'll call them that, yeah.
That's what they're called.
Parallel light coming down coming through broken cloud or anything, but no, broken cloud, yeah, and coming down at angles.
They're not. They're parallel.
What?
Okay, they're parallel. Absolutely, are they?
Yes.
So why are we seeing them coming down at angles?
Perspective.
Oh!
The sun is an infinite light source, and the rays leaving the sun are coming at us perfectly parallel.
The sun's an infinite light source now, apparently, according to Nobby here.
Okay, so perspective works along the field of our vision. Yes, it's like if it's a
subtended. Yes.
Well, let me finish. As for if we're looking at a line of telegraph poles, yeah, we see them go down at angles, yes. But across our vision, yeah, perspective doesn't work across our vision.
What would you expect light to come down at? What I mean, if you're looking at
what is light, again, we're getting into the realms of assumptions here. Right? Dick here thinks he knows. Doesn't he know what fucking light is? Nobody fucking does. Fanny Boss here has loaded with assumptions the same as him. I hope you know his daddy figure, because you better sort yourself out, because your wee apprentice here is making an absolute knob of himself, probably based on your influence.
Parallel light coming through broken clouds, what would you expect it to look like if the sun was?
Notice how we've wandered into absolute fucking bullshit here about the fucking sun. You notice this? And they're just hammering on the points about the sun. It's got nothing to do with the shape of the earth. Fuck all to do with it.
Infinite distance away, and I mean that is an infinite light source. Not that it actually is an infinite distance. There's a distinct difference there. But an infinite light source is something that should be treated as it is at infinity.
Oh, it's to be treated as it's infinity. Why? How? Where are you getting that from? Why are you postulating that? Where are you getting the grounds for that, sir? Huh? It's just going to be infinitely there. What are you fucking talking about?
For photography. So if the sun is an infinite light source, what would you expect to see if that was the case? What would the light look like?
I would expect to see the light coming down parallel, as you know, as we're told it's supposed to. So if you're saying that light is parallel as it reaches the earth, how does it cause the moon to cast a shadow 70 miles wide?
Well, first of all, you can actually measure it and see that it is parallel. If you actually do the measurements, the lines are exactly
parallel. Okay, no, that's not what I asked. I'm saying, assuming you're right.
The moon is between the sun and the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have parallel lines that are hitting the moon. So the moon is going to have what's called an umbra and a preumbra, and that's going to be the dark areas that it's
Why?
Because it's not. It's blocking the light.
Yes, it's blocking the light, but the light is parallel, so it would cast a shadow exactly the same size as the object casting the shadow.
Well, wouldn't it be bigger? It would be bigger.
It wouldn't. It depends how far away the object is.
Yes,
the more distant object
is 93 million miles away.
Closer.
You cannot. Sorry, you cannot create a shadow smaller than your object casting it. The only way you can
what, people? I'm just going to skip through this because it's fucking grating on me. You know, I'm getting fucking bored now listening to this waffle about the fucking sky and the fucking luminaries and all these assumptions that are getting thrown about left, right, and centre. Absolutely nothing to do with discerning or measuring curvature or the substances on the earth that these dipshits are claiming are true. Right? Nothing to do with it.
That is that you're just going by what somebody else has told you.
Well, no, I'm not going by what somebody else has told me. I mean, these are scientific findings that they have. I mean, they have a preponderance of evidence for it. It's
here we go again, appealing. Has it ever going to end?
So when time is compressed, time or space is compressed, yeah, time slows down, so that the speed of light remains the same.
Oh. Here we go into fucking theoretical fucking nonsense. Space is compressed and, you know, fuck me. Right, I've had enough. I've had fucking enough. Can't deal with it anymore. Sorry, I just can't. I can't go any further. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. If you wanted me to keep going, I just can't. Right? It's just wandered into absolute fucking lunacy. I hope it's clear for you to see. I really do hope it's clear for you to see it. Aye, it is total bullshit, super retarded, absolute fucking nonsense. You know, and Dave, you know, whatever, I'm not getting on your back, man, you know, but at the end of the day, this is what we need. We need to keep speaking, we need to keep refining. You know, we have to point these things out. It's, again, I'm going to reiterate it, it's not an attack on your character, your persons, or anything like that. It's impersonal. It's just purely about the observations of what's just happened in front of us. So, a lot of unnecessary jargon and bullshit there, where you have to be assertive and take control and stand your ground. You know, understand the lingo. You know, get them hammered on their assumptions and what they're professing to be true, and get them representing the claim. Again, you know, this is the issues, this is the problems when you're entering into these discussions with a straw man attached to you. You're asking for it. There's no requirement. Again, the real reality of your situation is that you believed it was a fucking globe. You assumed it was a fucking globe until you went and addressed those assumptions and you realise that it doesn't hold water. Literally. So what's next? Investigation, the proper scientific approach of, I don't know, now I'm going to investigate so that I can try and know and see what I can establish and ascertain to be factual, based on actual reality, not in some linguistic, hypothetical, you know, fantasy realm of words and rhetoric. That's it. I don't know beyond belief. This is the problem. I don't know if people just get caught up in a kind of egotistical thing where they think they're equipped. You know, we'll have to entertain a possibility that it's a deliberate act. You know, again, you know, I have to postulate the possibilities. I'm not certain that anyone's true, but you know, there's obvious flaws in, you know, how people are approaching these things. So, you know, regardless of what their agenda really is, the facts are the facts, that they're approaching it totally fucking wrong from my stance, right? Right, fuck it, for a laugh, I think we should just highlight the 3 proofs from the woman. Let me go and find it. Michelle Taller, I think that's the name. Oh, we've got nice wee dreamy music. Let me screen share here. Yeah, we've got nice wee dreamy music, just to appeal to the children in the audience, obviously. I'm sure this has already been done over and over, but since we're here, we might as well just have a wee look at it, shall we?
Oscar, you asked the question, what are some of the easiest ways that you can prove that the Earth is round? Because apparently this is something that we're debating. I have no idea why. That's a hard thing.
Maybe because, Michelle, there is no proof that the Earth's a fucking sphere. Maybe because the Earth being a sphere is an absolutely absurd, preposterous, religious bollocks, Michelle. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because the only thing we have to suggest that the Earth's a sphere is what we see on a fucking TV screen, Michelle.
For me to even start talking about, because there are so many proofs that the Earth is round.
Look at her, using her NLP with the wide eyes and the hand gestures, with the assertive, you know, motions. There are so many. There's just so many. No, there's fucking no hen. There's fuck all. Fucking nothing. Believe me, because I fucking believed in the fucking globe, and I desperately tried to prove it to myself, and I found fucking diddly squat. So what are you talking about?
Round, it's difficult to know where to start. And
It's difficult to know where to start because you don't have a fucking clue and you're just about to offer up some sophistry. We've already had your wee jingly music and your obvious attempts at NLP and gullible innocent minds into your waffle.
not okay to think that the earth is flat.
It's not okay to think that the earth is flat. Ridicule. Now we're into ridicule. Browbeating. Making you feel guilty. You should be ashamed to even question the religious narrative that you live on a nature-defying, wobbly, rotund, idiotic space testicle. You should be ashamed. Don't even go there. How dare you? Obviously addressing children. Oscar's obviously a child.
This is not a viable argument.
Aye, it is. And it's not an argument. Okay? It's about objective reality and the methods and how we establish what's objectively true between each individual. That comes down to practicality and demonstration of said claims.
I have friends who have been on the International Space Station.
Here we go. More NLP, more browbeating, more emotional influence. Well, I have friends who've been in the International Space Station. Well, I've got friends who visit the fifth dimension, Michelle. I've got friends who've been to the fifth dimension and have verified that 20-foot reptiles with big beady red eyes are indeed true, Michelle. I have got friends who go to the sixth dimension that talk to talking tigers with opposable thumbs who can use tools and build and construct. Michelle, I've got friends.
They have orbited the Earth once every 90 minutes. You know, I've had personal experience with people that have been up in space.
Oh, Michelle's a personal experience and an obvious frustration and hand gestures of the sheer absurdity that anybody would even question it is just beyond her capacity to even resolve. You know, to the point where, you know, you have to ask, well, why the fuck are you even making a video, Michelle? Why the fuck are you even addressing it if you think it's so absurd? Eh? Damage control, Michelle? Oh, yes. And again, your NLP fucking bullshit's not going to work here. All right, hen? So snap out of your fucking manipulative ways, you dozy cow.
Can see with their own eyes that the Earth is round.
Oh, well, again, Michelle, my friends who went to the fifth dimension seen it with their own eyes. Are you going to tell me that they're lying, Michelle? Are you going to tell me the fifth dimension is not true? Because I've got friends who said they went there, Michelle.
And of course, we've taken all these amazing pictures.
Amazing pictures! Amazing pictures where? The cartoons. I've seen better pictures from 3-year-olds with a fucking Samsung camera phone.
They're so beautiful, all those pictures of the Earth.
Oh, they're beautiful. Now we're appealing again emotionally. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Therefore, it must be real.
So I don't really know what's going on right now.
Oh, now I'm going to act daft. Now I'm going to act daft. I don't really know what's going on. Oh, this obvious absurdity is making me confused to the point where I'm having to address it.
Earth is flat thing. But I will tell you that this is one of the things I really enjoyed teaching my own astronomy class about, because there are proofs all around you. It is not difficult to know.
Where, Michelle? And now we're getting your push. Why is it always astronomers? Why is it always dipshits that look up into the fucking sky? Why is that all we ever fucking get, Michelle? Can you answer me that? Where is the actual hands-on practical physicists and engineers who are coming forward to show us rotund, wobbly, bending bodies of water, Michelle? Where are they? Oh, that's right, they're nowhere. Because they're not stupid enough to come and make a fucking absolute embarrassment of themselves. Huh?
That the Earth is round. In fact, people have known this for...
Michelle, you're not talking to fucking 3-year-olds here, hen. You're talking to adults with discerning minds that are not buying your fucking sophistry and your NLP tactics. Snap out of it, please.
Way more than 2,000 years.
Oh, way more. We've known it. Now we'll get fallacious appeals again. We've known it for 2,000 years. You've known fuck all for 2,000 years, Hen. You've known nothing.
The ancient Greeks actually had a number of really elegant, wonderful proofs that the Earth was a sphere. So let's start from the simple to the slightly more complicated.
Oh, elegant, simple. Let's see. Oh, I'm suspecting sticks in the ground.
One of the things you can see yourself with a pair of binoculars is if you actually go out to a lake.
Oh no, this is a lesser complex. I think the sticks come last. You know, we're going to get straight out in front of your observations of things disappearing into the vanishing point that Michelle's going to assert as curvature. Oh, what a surprise.
There are boats on that lake.
What, on the lake that's level? Because it's not flown away, Michelle. Just like we know water and liquids to behave. Is that what you're saying? Eh? How can it possibly be bending? How can it possibly be bending from point A to point B on a slope without flowing, Michelle? Could you demonstrate that? Could you offer me up anything practical that would verify these absurd claims? No, you can't.
The farther away a boat is, the more the bottom of the boat will disappear, and you'll basically just see the mast of the boat.
Michelle, you can go to a fucking flat ground, not even on water, and observe the very same phenomena. What are you going to tell me? Eh?
As a boat goes farther and farther away, the last thing you will see is the very top.
How many miles, Michelle? How many miles? 12? 15? 20? What about when I can see from left to right between two landmasses over 30 miles and there's no curvature? What's your excuse going to be? Oh, it's too big. Aye, it's imperceptible. 300 odd feet is imperceptible. Okay.
Of the mast of that boat. And that's because the boat is actually going over the horizon that's curved. And that means that as it goes...
Notice a left to right motion of our hands. It's curved. No, it's not. It's a horizontal, straight fucking level line. You moron. I suggest you get out the fucking echo chamber dungeon and go and have a wee look.
Farther and farther away, you see less and less of the bottom of it and more of the top of that. You can see that with binoculars. By an ocean, by a lake. It's really easy. That wouldn't happen if the Earth were flat.
I would, based on the scale, the size of your ear, and your perception. Okay? And the instruments that you're using are modelled on the eye. Okay?
Would simply see the boat getting smaller and smaller and smaller as it went farther away, but you'd be able to see the whole thing.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, Michelle. No, you wouldn't. Stop talking utter jobby. Okay, Hen? Things compress. They are subject to atmospheric refractions, diffraction, reflection. Okay? And as it compresses where the sky meets the fucking earth, they're going to start to vanish, which is why it's called the fucking vanishing point. And by the way, it doesn't vanish in an instant. It doesn't vanish in a fucking instant. It happens over a gradual process because the lower portion is closer to the ground and it's moving into that mirror point where the sky is mirroring off the fucking water and things start to vanish there. And anything that's taller is above that band of condensed atmosphere, right? So you can see it. That's what's happening, Michelle. I can guarantee you the water's no bending. I can guarantee you demonstrable fact that it's no bending. I can demonstrate it to you till I'm blue in the face. It's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. Just depends how twisted that wee mind of yours is.
Same proportions. Now, another way that you can tell that we're on a sphere is to think about how there's something called the tropics on the Earth.
No, she's trying to engage at a fucking immature level. Now, children, what I want you to do is think about it in your own way, with your own words, but what I'm saying in a sentence true. But if you can just use your wee imagination, I can get my wee witchy words in there and warp your wee innocent fucking mind. Treacherous, lying cow.
And the tropics are places near the equator of the Earth where sometimes the sun is overhead in the sky. And this was actually something that the Greeks used not only to prove that the Earth was round about 2,000 years ago, but they actually...
No, they didn't. The guy put two sticks in the fucking ground and made assumptions based on fuck all. Purely an assumption.
Measured the circumference of the Earth accurate to within just a couple percent 2,000 years ago,
No, I
we've known
didn't.
that the Earth
No, I
was
didn't,
round.
Michelle.
There was a
No, I didn't, Michelle. And how was he fucking verifying or falsifying any of that fucking shite? Did he have a fucking super duper hovercraft, fucking alien craft that could fly at fucking warp speed like Star Trek? Eh? Did he have a super jumped up unicorn with a rocket attached to its fucking sphincter? How was he achieving any of this fucking shite? Michelle.
a really brilliant Greek scientist called Aristophanes.
Is it no maybe they just decided, right, listen, this is the area we're going to pen them into. Now we need to come up with a mathematical concept based on that area, and then we'll just attribute it to some dipshit imaginary guy 2,000 years ago, so it gives a wee bit of validity and maybe people will believe it. Fucking idiots.
And Aristophanes noticed.
There we go.
that
Eratosthenes. It's no Eratosthenes.
a town called Syene, and on a certain date.
Listen, kids, she can't even fucking punctuate and say the guy's name right. The imaginary guy that they attributed to this. She can't even say it right. So, kids, don't listen to her. She's a lying witch.
The sun would actually shine straight down to the bottom of a well. That meant the sun was directly overhead. You could look down the well and see the sun shining back at you. And on the very same date, farther away in the city of Alexandria, that didn't happen. The sun was not directly overhead. It was a slight angle. And all the...
Oh, that's right, because maybe it's kind of local. No, Eratosthenes never contemplated that it's no local. He just asserted and assumed that it was 93 fucking million miles away. Yet back then they didn't. Did they not say it was 1,000,000 miles? And then it was 10 million miles, and then it was 20, and then it was 30, and then it was, oh, I knew it's 93 just because it fits for mathematical fucking bullshit.
Aristophanes did was he...
Stop saying Eratosthenes. That's not how you pronounce it, stupidity.
Difference in the angle of the sun. It was straight overhead in Syene. In Alexandria, it was a little bit less than overhead. And
I preferred it when Carl Sagan said it. At least he had a nice tone to his voice. He was an air fucking dipshit with a nicer voice than you.
Rationed that change in angle from one city to another was probably indicative of us being on a curved surface. And you could make all kinds of measurements.
What kind of fucking idiotic moron was Eratosthenes when he was really postulating that the oceans were bending? He must have been a fucking retard.
Between those two cities and see that the angles were different. The sun was at a different place in the sky. Using this, he actually measured the circumference of the Earth, and he got
Shut
it
up, Michelle.
2,000 years ago.
Shut up.
So
no, he didn't. It's just as I said. They fucking decided on the area that we're allowed to know about, and then formulated a mathematical fucking construct to try and back it up, and attributed it to fucking invisible, non-existent fucking morons for 2,000 years ago. Right?
Really simple proof is that on any given date, at different cities and different places around the world, the sun is at different angles in the sky.
Oh, wow.
If the Earth wasn't round.
Would I know? Would I know, Michelle? You can't fathom it the same as Eratosthenes couldn't fathom it that he might have it wrong and that it might be local and that you don't actually know what the sun is, where it is, what it actually is. Nah. No way, Michelle. No.
Then there are some other proofs that are a little more obscure.
Some other proofs. A minute ago we were getting loads that are all run about us, but yeah, I'm only seeing 3 here. And now you're asserting there's other proofs, but you've only got 3. Other proofs that are a little more obscure.
Sure, but they're actually really lovely. And
oh, they're really lovely kids. These proofs are really lovely kids. Yes, now they've got character. Warm, fluffy characters like Sesame Street puppets. Yes, kids. They're lovely. Because they're lovely, you believe them. Okay, kids?
One is to observe what happens during a lunar eclipse.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Now, a lunar eclipse happens when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon.
Mere assumptions. What about when it happens in the opposite? When it starts with the top and works its way down to the bottom? Idea. What about that? Eh? Again, all based on assumptions of 3D rocks flying about in a vacuous fucking empty space. None of that's been fucking proven, Michelle. So you're just waffling. And I'm tired of you. You're no worthy. You're a lying, deceptive moron, and I can see it in the bags under your fucking eyes, the strain you're under. So you can stand there acting like you're talking to fucking school children all you like, and maybe that's who you're directing it at. It's not going to fucking work. People like me are not going to allow it. So I suggest you fucking jump ship and snap out of your fucking nonsense before you become too fucking obvious. Okay then? Good. All right, and stop looking like Dave Mustaine out of fucking Megadeth, because I actually quite like Dave Mustaine, but looking at your physog and your fucking hair, it's making me have a different opinion, and I don't like that. Now you're warping my fucking love for Dave Mustaine, you sad old goat. I hope you're fucking happy. If she could play the guitar like Dave, I might fucking forgive her. But right now, I'm not in the mood for forgiving. She's a fucking cartoon for Disney. A bad one. Dave, beyond belief, she's fucking smiling after every fucking statement because she's using NLP, right? And she thinks nobody knows about. Angry again. Fucking class track, Brian Ritchie. Love it. Should be my anthem. If I could get away with it, I'd be playing it at the start of every fucking broadcast. Aye, Des Sherwood, she fucking met somebody. That's it. I mean, that's all we need. Yeah, as long as we meet somebody. And he tells a fucking story. That's verification. That's justification to believe in it. Right, I think I need to be something a wee bit stronger after that episode. You just need to bear with me a wee second. I'm an engineer. I'm engineering some medicine right now. I'll pay attention to the chat box in a wee second and see what people have got to say about any of this stuff. So if you don't mind just saving it so I can read it out. AB, I go for it. He's a link. He's a link. I don't know how it's gonna be approved, Marshall. Will you be able to approve a link if somebody puts it in there?
No, but they can cut it back to the numerical sequence, and I'll find it from that.
It's the new age world, you know. Dope smokers should have new fanciful terminology attached to them, you know. A medicinal engineer. Technically, it's engineering, is it not? Globe sales, but who's buying? That's it. You know, I'd love to get that going. If anybody's up for it, let's get a fucking band going. We've seen all these cover versions of Adele and all that. Let's do some fucking metal stuff, and we'll just change up the lyrics, rip the piss out of the Globe. I'm up for it. Right. Don't need that anymore. 2 seconds. Right. Still, who's asking, Dale, I'm a bass player, let's get into it. Well, fucking anytime. I'm up for it. Exactly, Des. That was exactly it. You know, Dave let himself be dragged by the arm into nonsense topics, moving away from the shape of the earth. Exactly. So, you know, that was the whole point, and I hope that people grasp that. You know, and don't get yourself into these sticky situations where there's a lot of unnecessary bollocks coming your way. There's really no need for it. This is what I was talking about last night, about, you know, being discerning and being committed and, you know, sharpening your tools so that you know exactly what the fuck's going on. So it doesn't matter what scenario you're getting yourself into, you know, you can articulate it. Dave Finkel, Darren the Objective Realist. No, Dave, I can't help that because that denotes that I'm some sort of lead figure. No, that's no good, mate. No good. Here's hope for truth. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'd be having nightmares about her playing fucking Symphony of Destruction or Holy Wars or something like that. And it would just ruin it for me. I would have to break the CD when I got up in the morning. Did we get that suggested wee link?
No, dude.
No.
No.
Dale, can I call you? What? Where the fuck did that go? Sorry, a low start there. I touched it and it just jumped.
Des is donating a potential victim, Dale. If there you
go. Right, where is it? Oh, for fuck's sake. How long is this?
Side and the creative side, and my devices have to do both.
I'm not sure, about 20 minutes, I think.
20 minutes, right? I'll get a wee bash. Let me just get a wee couple of puffs, a wee laugh at the chat, and then we'll have a look at it. Oh, you're building it up, Des. I'm getting excited. I better not smoke any more of that, eh? Right, where is it? Let's see what Mr. Cox is going to say. I'll come back to the chat. Okay, Mr. Cox in your bum. I'm about to look at you, educational, analytical, don't own any of this nonsense. I'm just doing it for, you know, whatever. Right? Please don't punish me.
So you might ask the question, how did the Earth and Moon form like that? Why are the two things that are, you know, on a cosmological scale of things, roughly the same size, orbiting around each other? But there are some other facts that are interesting about the Earth and the Moon. Now, this is a beautiful picture, actually, I just wanted to show, taken from orbit around planet Mars by a space probe just a couple of years ago. So this is
the... Look at this shite, man. I seen better shit like this on the fucking first computer I ever experienced when I was about 5 years old. And it consisted of, you know, a line here and a line here, and then another wee line there, and another wee line there, and a wee square bar that went back and forward, and you just had to keep batting it back. Better graphics than this fucking shite here. You know? It's the fact that he's got a fucking room full of fucking people with jaws open, thinking this is some sort of profound, amazing stuff here. Fucking lunacy.
The view of the Earth and the Moon looking back from Mars. One of the very interesting things about the moon is that it's got very little iron in its core. Now, the Earth, as we'll see a little bit later on, has got a lot of iron in its core, which is actually responsible for its magnetic field.
Is it? What, melted iron? Brian, melted? And when it loses its magnetism? And how did you establish this, Brian? Did you burrow like a wee fucking field mouse, like a wee mole or a vole? Did you? Did you burrow in there? You like wee things like that? Are you prone to putting them in plastic bags and sticking them in places you shouldn't be, Brian? Eh?
The moon seems to have very little compared to the other planets and many of the moons in the solar system. So that's a puzzle. If it formed in the same place as the Earth, then why is the Earth got a lot of iron?
How did it fucking form in the first place, Brian? How did anything form from an explosion or an expansion in a vacuous empty space? How the fuck did anything form? And before you go waffling about gravity and all that, you know, that wouldn't come about until there was mass, according to your bollocks theories. So how did it even come to coming together in the first place, Brian? Unaided in a vacuous empty space as the result of an explosion? Could you explain and demonstrate, Brian? Could you? No, you couldn't.
The core and the moon has got very.
I'm always on the go, so having a light laptop is a game changer.
Very little.
Making money out of fucking waffling shite.
The other thing, and this is one of the big words that I want to use, but it's got a simple explanation, is there's a lot of spin in the Earth and the moon system. The moon is very big compared to...
He's getting the game away. There's a lot of spin. You're fucking right. There's a lot of spin, sonny boy. And it's coming right out of there. That fucking arsehole right beneath there. That's where it's coming for, the spin.
The Earth, it orbits around the moon very fast. The Earth spins and the moon spins. And one of the fundamental principles of physics,
The moon spins. What do you mean it spins? What, spins so that we see every fucking side of it? What are you talking shite for, son? That's just not true. I mean, it rolls. It rolls like a coin on a table. And you roll it. Is that what you mean? It's no spinning.
Principles of science is that spin, this thing called angular momentum, doesn't just get invented. It has to come from somewhere. So when you see something spinning very fast, like the Earth and the moon system with the moon flying around the Earth, you need an explanation for that. Why is there so much angular momentum? Why is there so much spin? We also went to the moon, as I mentioned.
You need an explanation. You don't need to establish the facts. According to him, you just need an explanation. And as long as your explanation's worded good enough and you keep repeating it and people believe it, then that's fine. You know, what it should be based on is facts and demonstration, actual physics. Brian, no explanations. We've got other religions with explanations of existence. Yours is no different.
And earlier, I think one of the greatest achievements in human history, back in 1969, when I was about 1 year old, actually, so a long time ago. But we went there, we got moon rocks, and we brought them back. We found...
You notice how these motherfuckers always use the words like we, you know, affirming and attaching people to it, placing relevance upon it, that you're part of something that was never in any way, shape or form, anybody that's watching this or anybody, the majority, was at their direct experience. That's why he keeps using words like we. It's a mantra used in NLP and religious programming and brainwashing to try and give you attachment to something, like you belong to something that happened. We. No, we, Brian.
The composition of the moon rocks is very, very similar to the Earth.
No, it's not.
Right? So the rocks seem to have come from roughly the same source. But by looking at the way that little radioactive atoms, radioactive elements in the rocks decay, we can date them very accurately.
No, you can't.
Like they're about 30 to 50 million years
younger.
No. Now that's not very much younger, because we know from dating the Earth and dating the whole formation of the solar system that the Earth was...
big God cocks. Dated the whole formation of the solar system. Oh, you're so fucking profound, Brian. So profound. I wish I was in that audience. I'd be heckling you like fuck, son. putting you under serious pressure. Right? You're always in these wee echo chamber environments with nobody ever questioning anything that you say.
Born about 4.5 billion years ago.
Oh, it said it with gusto. Billion years ago. That's another tactic that they use. You know? Make it sound big. Make it sound powerful. Assert it with authority. Yes, Brian, we know what you're up to, son. Doesn't work. Sorry.
So 30 to 50 million doesn't seem like much, but we can date rocks that accurately. So that seems to suggest the moon was formed very slightly after the Earth. So we've got this picture.
Formed. It was formed. By what and who?
Bit of a puzzle. The moon is a bit younger than the Earth. It's spinning very quickly. It's made of very closely the same stuff as the Earth, very similar stuff, but there's very little iron in it. So what's the explanation for that? Well, there is a theory which is pretty
What's the explanation? There's a theory.
widely accepted.
Widely accepted. It's widely accepted. Mere fallacious appeals.
Explains all those things. Some people question the theory, and this is why I think it's a beautiful example of the way you do science, because it's not 100% correct, it's not 100% accepted.
Brian, looking at stuff in the sky and making up stories, you might call that a science, right? I call that fucking delusional fuckery, right? What I call science is demonstration, practicality, something that we can all test, observe, and know for ourselves. So your wee sleight of hand with definitions might work with these gullible dipshits, but it doesn't work here, mate.
But it works. And it's beautifully illustrated by this.
Well, it's beautifully illustrated by this nonsensical bollocks picture.
Beautiful picture, actually.
It's beautiful picture. You know, inferring that it's like a photograph, when really it's nothing like a photograph.
What we think happened is that very early on in the formation of the solar system, so let's say 50 million years after the Earth formed, there was another planet very close to the Earth, about the size of Mars. And the theory goes that this planet hit the Earth in a glancing blow. Now, think what that would do. So you hit the Earth in a glancing blow. You knock off loads of bits of the Earth, but not the centre of the Earth. Now, when planets form, the heavy thing.
Where is the bit that it hit, Brian? Can you show me? Is it a Grand Canyon or something? What bit did it hit?
Things drift towards the centre of the planet, and that's why all the iron, or most of the iron in the Earth, sits at its core. There would have been enough time for that to happen, and so when this collision happened, the bits that got knocked off were not very rich in iron because all the iron was sat at the middle of the Earth. That then knocks loads of bits off. Also, because it was a glancing blow, it puts loads of spin into the system. It's just like kicking a football at the edge, and it spins and curves. Right? You smash something across the edge of the Earth, and you put a lot of spin in, which accounts for the spin. It also,
and then the Earth became attached to its wee bit of broken rock, and wasn't quite ready to snip the apron string, so just decided to give it a big magical gravity hug and hold it close and keep an eye on it, because it didn't feel as if it was quite mature enough to be fucking off into the wondrous, empty, vacuous universe. So with a wee bit of a love scenario going on between the Earth and its broken off part, the Earth didn't want to let it go.
Counts for why the rocks.
Look at these poor fuckers here. Look at them sitting there bored out their fucking craniums, listening to this dipshit waffle a load of shite, and the only reason they have to be here is to put wee fucking marks in this wee fucking book, because they've been told that's what they have to do in order to succeed in life. And they want to succeed because they're children. They're optimistic. They're full of energy and hope and want, yearning for it. And it's been channeled into this fucking bollocks, bullshit crap. What they really need is an applied understanding of the fundamentals of what it means to be a human being and how their mind works, and what's an actual requirement for them to exist and to flourish, to be nurtured properly, to be cared for. Right? At this naive, delicate stage, they're being subjected to fucking Diddy here. Right? Diddy waffling utter crap and showing them cartoons, trying to sway them so that they can perform wee tasks in this book so that they can move on and get a job in Tesco. Aye. And be proud of their job in Tesco, and be proud that they're a wee insignificant speck of dust, and that they should be happy with their job in Tesco. Aye. Serving up, tortured animals and abuse left, right and centre to the other gullibles who are coming to pay for it. Oh, how fulfilling. A few of them might be luckier. A few of them might get a bit of a higher stature. Poor fuckers. Look at them. Can I be fucked? Type out doing. I'm bored out of my fucking cranium. My arse is killing me. I want to go out and play. I want to go out and play in the actual world and find out about it and have fun and be free and express myself. But I can't. I've got this big dark cloud over me here. I'm being forced into this situation.
It seems to be the same, because the moon is indeed made of bits of the earth. So the same.
No, it's no, Brian, you fucking lying prick.
And because it happened 50 million years after the Earth formed, it explains why the radioactive clocks on the moon are a little bit younger. So I think that's a beautiful example of the theory. It seems that the moon indeed did form.
Maybe the moon's just a new piece of the construct, Brian. Maybe that's what it is and you're trying to cover it up. Who knows?
In a planetary collision about 50 million years after the Earth was formed.
There's always going to be people who
Oh, thank fuck for that.
like what you do, don't I?
Yes.
But what's surprising for me, and actually I find, increasingly I'm sort of defending you and science communication. Particle physicists say, oh, Brian's gone off, he's doing astronomy now, and when was the last time he did experiments? Astronomers say, oh, Britain's favourite astronomer, he's not an astronomer. And then there's the people who say, oh, they've been dumbing down science, background music's too bloody loud,
He is dumbing down science. He's directly attacking what real science actually is and trying to hijack it and perpetuate that.
How do you cope with this? Are you able to sort of
Brian, see that shirt right there, son? See that shirt right there? That shirt right there? Look at it. Just look at it and contemplate it for a wee minute, fucko. Huh? And then reassess your pushing of bendiness in this substance. Right? That's all you need to do, wee man.
compartmentalize?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to say is that you hear very little criticism from the top level. So
that's because you're fucking working for them, you fucking muppet arse, you. Right?
So the top people in universities, people at the Royal Society also fund me and those people, because I think at a high level there's a clear acceptance and view. Acceptance is the wrong word. It's kind of it's known that science has to be in the public arena, of course, because it's primarily publicly funded. So that's one thing.
And plus you need to maintain the narrative and your influence over people by hijacking science and taking it into the realms of an institution, right? Where it's organised, it's controlled, right? And it has agendas. Doesn't belong to you, Brian, or any of your buddies, as you call the top notch. Who are these fucking dipshits? Go and get them, right? Because there's something happening, Brian. You better fucking realise it, sonny boy. Okay?
We know that we need more school kids to want to come into science. The government defined it as...
No. What you mean is you need more school kids to believe your bullshit. So what you're going to do is implement it and start pushing it into the curriculum, Brian. And then you're going to get about with your wee boyish fucking bum face, right? And start spewing it at them because they've been told that the great idol of Brian Cox is coming. The amazing, wonderful intellect of Brian Cox is coming to your school to talk about waffle. Therefore, you must bow, intellectually bow to your overlord, your priest, who's coming to teach you the ways of the fantasy universe that he wants you to believe you live in.
Strategically important physics.
Strategically important, aye. Strategically important for what? Eh? Facts are facts, Brian. They don't need to be strategically anything. They're there for everybody to fucking know if you just leave them alone, Brian. but you're part of a wee agenda, Brian, so you need them in your fucking programming centres that we call schools, so you can brainwash them and control them, Brian.
Strategically important subject. So we know that the economy is based.
Listen to what he says, strategically important subject. Very telling, Brian.
On that flow of scientists to a large extent, actually. I mean, of all the figures are of all over 40% of the economy is what's defined as knowledge-intensive services and industry. So that's really the.
So there you go. You know, people say, why would the incentives be? Man's fucking telling you right now. The level of investment, isn't it? Right? That's what it's about.
The university system lies at the foundation of that. So therefore, it has to be part of culture, part of popular culture, has to be celebrated, accepted, and has to be something that children.
Yes, it has to be incorporated into the cult. Yes, as a main proponent of the cult.
Particularly, but parents as well and taxpayers want to support and want to do.
I don't want to support you. I'm pretty sure there's millions now who don't want to support you. You better sort your act out, son. It's coming. It's coming. You've already been found out. We see you. You're not in the dark anymore. So the more you fucking keep it up, well...
That's well accepted at the higher level.
It's well accepted at the higher level. So again, we're getting use of NLP here. You know? Browbeating. It's well accepted at the higher levels. Fuck off. Again, appealing to this mentality of externalising the individual and separating their mind in order to appeal to all these external sources. Fuck all.
You know, and I don't see much criticism actually. I mean, you might say, you know, the occasional bits and bobs, but actually, you know, when I get invited to the big astronomy conferences, the obviously particle physics, and in general, I don't see it very
That's
much.
because they're echo chambers, moron. Come on here and speak to me. I'm not going to lick your ass. I'm going to tell you you're a fucking prick and blatantly lying.
I think can be overstated. That
Yeah,
I think the world.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you think, but I think the world's moved on. Actually, I know that I got quite friendly with Carl Sagan's widow, Andrianne, who co-wrote Cosmos.
Oh, look, now we're getting, you know, fucking association. You know, let's lend them some other sway to this. Oh, I spoke to fucking the great Carl Sagan's wife. I'm connected. I'm part of a network of superior beings like Carl Sagan and other idol. Yes. Affirming my superiority in the minds of the gullible.
Remarkable woman. And then she has told me, you know, Carl Sagan used to get unimaginable criticism. You know, he was famously.
Aye, because back then, when people were still in touch with their fucking common sense, rational mind, at a time when it was hands-on for every man and woman to understand their reality and construct and build the infrastructure that we've got to this very day. Yes, you go and try and tell those people with the practical skills that live on a wobbly fucking rotund oceaned nature-defying sphere pair that's zipping through a fucking gassy, empty, vacuous space with a pressurised gaseous environment, they would have fucking lynched you. So I'm no surprised that Sagan was still getting the fucking remnants of those people that were still in touch with that. Aye, now we're a few generations down the line and we'll get ta-da! Carl Sagan love child.
He wasn't allowed into the National Academy of Sciences. He was blackballed from the National Academy of Sciences because he was popularising science. One of probably the greatest.
No, he wasn't. He was popularising absurd bullshit crap.
Populariser, arguably it's ever lived.
Pseudoscience. He was popularising. Pseudoscience, Brian.
And so that doesn't happen anymore. You don't see. Actually, funnily enough, but I think it's quite good actually. The most criticism, if I ever see criticism, it actually tends to be from physics students. It's quite funny if you look at the web. Yeah, you get the feeling you know he's talking about it.
You don't. Physics students are probably telling you water doesn't bend.
Can I just interject here, mate? Please?
You know, you're supposed to be pure and
Oh,
rebellious. Physicists are supposed to be like physics.
Pure and rebellious. What a complete and utter fucking tadger. What a tadger, man.
Dale, can you hear me, mate?
So I even quite like that. I look at the thing.
Yeah, bless.
1 million
Right. This is the last one of him because he's fucking grating on me.
million particles per second fly off the sun, and that's called the solar wind. Another way of looking at that is it's 7 billion tons of sun every hour get lost into space.
Right, that's enough. Fuck him. Can't be bothered, man. Can't be bothered. Honestly.
Dale, can you hear me, mate?
Aye.
Right. Okay. It's just, I mean, we've got a potential celebrity under review here, but we've also got a potential celebrity in the chat box this evening. Drake from Drake Media is here, and he wants to know what we can do about proving that it's flat.
Proving it's flat. Drake, depends what your idea of flat actually is, mate. Well, I can tell you beyond any shadow of a doubt at its fucking level, the place is covered liquid. We know the fundamental facts and behaviours of fluids. Are you daft? The place is fucking level, mate. Unless you're going to start telling me it's big bendy bodies of water, Drake. And I hope you've came prepared with practical demonstrations, Drake. No, you've not got any practical demonstrations. Well, fuck off. I don't even know who you are. What kind of celebrity is he?
Musician, apparently.
All right. From where?
Do you know what? I'm not entirely sure. I'm old school, dude.
Hold on. How am I not getting the opportunity to see his channel? Where's that option? It's not giving me that.
I'm reliably informed it's rap music, apparently.
Oh, rapper. I'll check your music out, Drake. Not into rap, but I'll get a bash. There's a big movement now of metalheads, responding to rap music and rappers responding to metal music, and it's sort of big fucking great fun. So I might do some of that, Drake. But have you got any bendy oceans? Are you here professing that the globe's true, Drake? Does it take you time to type, Drake? Are you a globe believer, Drake? No? Nothing to say. You did fuck off, because you've not got bendy oceans.
Apparently, this is somebody speaking on behalf. This is official fan page, so whoever is administrating that, yeah,
right.
That's a little bit underhanded, Mr. Administrator for Drake Media. I'm sure he's not going to be too impressed with you trying to instigate some discord.
Exactly. Who is Drake? I mean, what's the relevance? I thought I was supposed to be impressed or something.
Well, looks like the Drake Media Administrator has pulled the plug on his connection here, Tom.
Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame. Well, I know you're probably still listening, Drake. If you're genuine and you're really having a realisation of the fact that I've just pointed it to you, welcome. Might be scary. Tough tits. We've all went through it. Pull your socks up, get through it, come back and speak to us. I agree here, Lisa. Right, I'm sorry I couldn't continue with Brian Cox. He's just... There's apologies. I didn't finish it, mate, but I'm sure you understand. I can only put up with so much fucking lunacy in one evening. Am I glowing, Meryl? Am I glowing? Is he a great rapper? Hope for Truth. Good. Hope we can rap some oceans round a rock for us. That would be some impressive rap. Go and get a big swimming pool and wrap it round a mountain. Right. What time are we on here? 20 to 12. Way past my bedtime. So, exactly it is. I know. I'll need to have another smoke so that I can block out the nightmares of what I've experienced this evening. So, again, understand the language. Watch what you're getting yourself into. You know, this bullshit. Don't let these people think that, you know, science belongs to them or that they know better than you, because it's bullshit. We're real people, and how we establish facts between real people is that we demonstrate claims in a practical fashion, right? That's how you have all the technology. You've got the home with the appliances and the vehicle that you use to go from A to B and all the other stuff that you enjoy in the practical realm that you're experiencing everyday reality. It's based in tangible things, not in words and fanciful words and insistence and body language and NLP and sophism and mathematics. It's not based in any of that fucking shite. It's based on real people like me and you with stuff that we can show and demonstrate and pass to each other and know for a fundamental fact that we're sharing and experiencing the same fucking reality, and that we can't bullshit each other because we know we depend on stuffs and demonstrations. So don't let them push you into that disempowered place of thinking that they're superior and you've not got the capacity, you know. It's fucking all hogwash bullshit. You don't need to even know their fucking lingo. Just tell them to make their claim and fucking show you. Done. So, appreciate you being here. And I hope that I've offered some use to anybody, you know, that's so I can continue to offer. And if there is use there, then people will use it, right? So, thank you very much. Marshall, Magumba, Jonah Worms, Des, appreciated everybody in the chat. In fact, there's people that have been text messaging. I'm going to be decent and I'm just going to read these text messages out quick. So, Dale, sorry mate, I mean to make a mass impact in our lifetimes. I know it's taking hold on so many of your followers. I really hope I don't have followers and others around the shit globe. The next gen of people will stand a good chance. I think there is a very deep level of brainwashed people out there, and a mass of them seems like it's going to take forever to make a difference. Of course, I hope not, though. The thing is, they control the borders, so we are all pretty much fucked, lol. Unless the army, etc., turn on them, give the power back to us, mate. Never give up fighting, Paul Etchells. Well, that's it, Paul. It's down to individuals to share, to be responsible, and to make that difference. And the rest will just naturally follow, right? We don't need to go and demand it. Just keep up. Sharpening your tools, understanding it, setting yourself properly, being confident, move forward to there. Brother, they are crazy due to interbreeding, and they are the fuckers behind the scene and benefiting from the lies. Big and small, love you, bro, open my eyes. I don't doubt there's some fucking crazy shit going on with them, mate. I fitted a wooden floor over the weekend, and like a silly bastard, I took the measurements off the ceiling and ended up with a big hole in the middle of the floor where the ceiling rose sits directly above. I'll never look up again and assume that's what the floor looks like. Malaysian flight MH370 went AWOL on a supposed globe meshed by satellites, but headed for the Indian Ocean with no mobile phone masts or radar coverage. That alone tells you satellites aren't involved. Yep, just another aspect of the nonsense. Right, that was the message from Jean. Thank you again for that. You will buy a scooter next, gold star on its way. Nice one, Dom Yamaha. All right, Del, thanks for your diligence and hard work. I would like to bring a fellow Scotsman to your attention who is doing crucial and critical work for the men and women of the British Isles on common law. His name is Rob S. on YouTube. Could you please do a shout out for his channel, because he is fighting the legal society to get his sister's son out of custody. He really needs as much support as can be given by the men and women of our lands. He's doing good work in the bullshit courts and getting results. He's not a globe denier, but he's making change for the better in other ways that will benefit us all. Best wishes, Maloney Brothers, Brighton. Well, there you go. And I support anybody like that. You know, if there's people that are, you know, determined enough that they feel injustice, and if a loved one's been taken away from them, by all means, you know, I'll support anything to do with that. Nobody has those rights. Hey Del, did you know you can get ad blocker for your browser and it stops all ads on YouTube? Maybe help when debunking these idiots. Cheers, Des. Cheers, Des. I know I'm technically retarded in that aspect, so I will get that in place. What did I get here? I hope all's well, Dale. My comfort zone was invaded, mate. True of my silence, bro. Nothing more than love, Dale. Fuck him and their space religion on a sphere, haha. Sticks on shite. Joe says there's a sum for that. Carbon dating, big bro on earth, you know. That's Davey. Cheers for texting us. I hope you're all right, my man. I was wondering where you'd got to, so I appreciate you letting us know. You're good. Right, that's me. I've read through what I had to read through. Thanks again, people. I will see you very, very soon. Take it easy.